Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Return by the Numbers. I'm the host, Richard Lewis. Joining me as always does the esports historian. This is episode 192 of Return by the Numbers. And this is it. This is absolutely the last one on the channel. I know we said it was the last one. It's going to be this one.
Okay.
So everything we said last episode, it's going to be
return.
Yeah. The revenge. There'll be no more returns after this.
Right,
only revenge. There will only be revenge after this.
In some ways, that's actually a more fitting one because the fans would always go, "What is it return every week?" Well, the joke is on our show we are getting revenge on people every week. So
Yeah, exactly.
in many ways, it's actually a better moniker.
So saw a comment actually on the last episode, which just came out like I think the day before of recording this, and people were saying, "Oh, pretty boring episodes. Whatever happened to petty grievances? Whatever happened to them laughing at Reddit?" Those were the bits you hated.
That was the part Reddit specifically used to focus on and say that's all the show was. And the joke is you take it out and they go, "I sort of bloody missed that." But
it's a bit tame, innit?
You can't win.
You never win. So look, I tell you,
that's so ridiculous.
I tell you who does win. It's the sponsors that support this show. They're great. Obviously, midnight.com, my official betting sponsor. Loads of old school esports guys working on that project. Super happy to be involved. And now that I'm free from COVID and back from holiday, big run of streams coming, boys. Obviously, we got lots of live events. No majors clubs around the corner.
Yeah.
So a ton of content.
I'm imagining, by the way, we'll get to this topic later, but could have a particularly fire lineup. The joke is the No Majors Club now is just a major. It's just the last major. It's going to
be good. I mean,
you know what I mean?
As I'll tell you, I'll even sprinkle a few of the surprise names. We're going to get in for it. So anyway, yes, go and support midnight.com. If you sign up with the code RLewis and deposit £20, they'll match it. EliteJewels.gg, they're with us in for this month. I'm going to be doing a live pick of a fantasy team. Basically, they're a great fantasy site. They're just getting started. So go and sign up there. But what they want to do is, kind of build a fantasy site where it's super easy, super straightforward, sort of demystifies fantasy a little bit, where sometimes you've got to like, if I pick this guy and I've got to have two from this team. They basically put all the players into like a ranking and you just pick one player from each barrel to an equivalent value that you're allowed to spend on your team. And so it just really makes it super simple. 8 clicks and you're done. And yeah, so go check them out, but I'll show you how to use it all at a later date. And of course, NordVPN, VPN sponsor the Esports Gospel Audio podcast too. Great having them on board. So a ton of fantastic sponsors. And let's hopefully deliver a fantastic show, Duncan. First thing I want to start with, I just want to say, obviously, we saw a bit of sad news about Zeus. Had a heart attack, but he's fine. The good news is he's fine. I talked to him today. And he says he's doing okay. He's had some surgery. He's going to be on a course of medication, but there doesn't appear to be any permanent damage. He was super fortunate in the sense that he was 15 minutes from a hospital when it happened.
Perfect.
So yeah, exactly. The perfect place to have a heart attack within driving distance. But listen, it made me a little bit sad, as we'll get into, that hate threads about me, you, Semler, Sadikist, these threads like generated like, hundreds of, it's like 4 or 5 threads, hundreds of comments. That's only on Reddit, by the way. It's not even including HLTV. And like a get well thread for Zeus only gets 100. Like this guy is like the fucking, and by the way, you shouldn't take these things as metrics of
of course not, sure,
what's important or whatever, but trust me, I've been there, I've been in a hospital, been mortally stricken down with fucking bad things before, and little pep talks and pick-me-ups make a world of difference to your recovery psychologically. The heart attack's a lot to process.
Yeah, you're right. I've just looked it up, even though now it was posted like a day ago or something. So it wasn't obviously today it was posted. It's only got 114 comments at the time of talking.
Yeah.
So because I know the little shitters were going, it was number one on the.
Yeah.
You just shift the goalpost every time. As Richard said, there were tons of threads of this. Each tweet from Semler or something, that was a thread. Not only that, the difference is you guys will spin your wheels for thousands of comments debating this shit. Whereas, like, I'm with you. Look, I get there's not much you can say in the thread. All you can really say is like, shit, hope he gets better. But why aren't there 10,000 comments of that? Like, why isn't it like a mega gilded thread? Like, hope he gets better. He's even bloody Brazilian. Like, you guys love all the Brazilians. He's right in your wheelhouse. Like, I'm with you. That was just sort of like a side topic, wasn't it? I thought, to me as well, even though it turns out he's fine, I'm amazed more people weren't shocked. When I saw it, I was like, holy shit, he's had a heart attack. Like, I thought, fuck, is he almost dead or something?
No, and this is the thing as well. Like, I'll tell you that, obviously some people, like, they have a penchant, let's say, for exaggeration. I've seen a lot of people say, oh, I've had a heart attack, I've had this, I've had that. And it's not, what you mean is you've had, a cardiac episode. It's not.
Yes.
But this was the big one. He was very, he was unbelievable. His words, unbelievably fortunate. Is what
I mean, if people don't know, you might remember if you were around back then, he was a much bigger guy until basically around his Team Liquid time. Now, I don't know how much stuff he's made public, so I won't say any more official, but basically, as far as I know, I think he was already at the point years ago where they told him, like, medically, like, you need to lose weight or whatever, mate, like, put Australian. And as far as I know, it's why he went onto this thing where essentially you saw his transformation. So sadly, that might well be a thing that might not even be anything to do with now. It might be some shit from years ago that built up, right?
Yeah, and listen, he's
one of the best guys as well, by the way. Like, I'll always say this, like, I might have plenty of problems with loads of people in the Brazilian scene. One of the only people I think is just solid gold. I don't give a fuck what anyone says.
Yeah. I mean, we were drinking with him at the last major, obviously, so it was just a real visceral shock to hear that he'd been afflicted like that, and we've lost lots of good people in esports down the years, so I'm glad it's not another one. He's a top guy, and if you're watching this show and you think it's a bit weird to tweet at people, trust me, I'll tell you, as someone that gets non-stop hate messages, it's never going to go down bad if you send some appreciation someone's way, especially when they're feeling under the weather. So I'm glad he's going to do okay, and like I say, me and him are gonna talk soon if he's up to it. We might even get him in for the No Majors Club and watch some games together while he's recovering. So, super cool guy. Anyway, I guess we can sort of segue from there to there. And the major announcements happened. There you go. Here's all the drama, right? Basically, the Pgl Talent Announcement came out, and thus, as we had sort of alluded to multiple times, without directly saying who was going to be working the show and who wasn't, this was going to be the major for all the people that essentially missed out last time around. But with the interesting aspect of there were some last minute changes, is my understanding from behind the scenes.
Oh, there were. Like, I heard of people who originally told me they were hired who weren't on that list, mate, and then people who definitely weren't, and then magically appeared on that list seemingly like after a week or something,
Yeah. So, and it seems to have been. There's a couple of names in there that were brought in that maybe weren't anticipated to be there, and certainly weren't when we were talking about it. It's obviously generated, a few eyebrows. Everyone's got their own personal preferences. Some people seem to think personal preference gets to masquerade as expertise. Yeah, spoiler, it doesn't. The vast majority of you are not even qualified.
By the way, that's actually quite a good distinction, though. Like, I'm not joking. Yeah. If I read a comment on Reddit and the guy just said, I prefer Bardolph, I like Bardolph's style, I would go, fine with me. But if he goes, Semler's absolute shit, no talent, but Bardolph's a master. Now, obviously, I immediately think you're a moron. As you say, you're not even just giving your take there, you're giving everyone's take, aren't you?
Yeah, and it's like I say, people often aren't equipped. It just comes down to what is easier on your ear, which, like music, it's just going to be personal preference. Absolutely. It's going to be complete, and that's fine. The thing that always makes me sad is, and I've made this argument multiple times, is talent announcements. I don't even know why we do them in the industry anymore, because I'll tell you, I don't know any talent that actually enjoys talent announcement day. I know when it was E-League, as a courtesy, they used to give me the heads up so I could just go offline, because I'd say it's just a vector for harassment and abuse, really. Because if somebody is grateful you're there, they message to tell you how shit all of your colleagues are.
Exactly. I'm so glad they didn't hire this guy, but you're like best friend or something usually.
Yeah, and you're like, right.
I know, exactly. Well, I like the first part. Yeah, the ending was a bit sour.
Or it's you shouldn't be there. This other person, also a colleague,
by the way,
should have your job. Yeah,
people always get mad. Like, they do this classic thing where I've seen very few normal comments we've ever called mentally ill. We always call the ones where people are like obsessive and saying really weird things, right? But one of the things I find mad that people are like, you shouldn't call things mentally ill, right? If you tweet directly at someone who isn't even making a tweet themselves, but just to tell them, like, I'm glad you weren't hired, you are impossibly mentally ill. Like, there is no explanation. There's no cool guy in the world or nice guy that's sitting down and doing that. Nobody. It's only a mentally ill person would do that. Yeah. Like, you have to understand, I have plenty of people I don't like. It would never occur to me to tweet directly at them. Right? Glad you didn't get hired for that, though. Because why would it occur to you? It's such a fucking weird thing. And sadly, that goes hand in hand with exactly these announcements, of course.
Yeah. So, I've said it multiple times, like, just, fucking... Like, just get rid of them. Do you know what they are? And I made this point. I was talking to Trant, who obviously works for PGL, good old friend. And he said we've tried doing it without talent announcements, and then you get criticised for not making talent announcements. And by the way, I recognise PGL are in an impossible position. They pick all the old boys for one. Why are you picking the old boys? Why aren't you picking the people in the online era? You pick all the online era people, finally give them a shot at a major, and people are going, why didn't you hire my old favourites? So it's like, and there's not room for everybody. This isn't the TI, and it's not about budget constraints, as I saw a few people imply. I don't think that's an issue. PGL are one of the few people that, like, they can definitely throw money at things if they need to. So anyway, look, the announcement was made, and I guess we start with the notable omissions. No Anders, no Moses, no Semler, no you.
Sadikist,
no Sadikist, no Yanko.
Richard.
Well, I'm retired.
Yeah, but I mean, you've done loads of majors as well. Like, it's not like you're spring. You've done loads of majors, mate. By the way, the people you've just listed off there would be like, all of those people would be like top 8 most majors worked ever in the history of CSGO.
Yeah.
And even, by the way, this is one area that fucking grinds my gears, mate. I hate people in life who pretend to represent a principle because it's expedient at that moment, and then turn around when it's not expedient and don't represent the principle. So the same people who told me all the hires for PGL Stockholm have to be based on who worked all the events. Well, you shout a look with my boys Moses, Anders, and fucking Yanko, then, aren't you? Because they've been working on something. Like, Yanko's along with Maniac, he does every event, boys. Like, what's going on? So I noticed there was a lot of that as well, Richard, which is that people who didn't like the PGL one suddenly magically forgot the reasons why and were loving this one. I at least get it if someone was consistent. Fair play.
Yeah, but I mean, there's no consistency because, as I said, in the same way personal preference gets to masquerade as expertise on social media, people just won't admit, like, I have created an avatar about this person in my mind. It isn't even a fully 3-dimensional reflection of who they are, but I hate that avatar. I hate that avatar with every fiber in my being because I am weird, and I cannot publicly admit that's what is happening in my brain because that will make me look weird. So I will instead fabricate justifications, even contradictory ones, on a day-to-day basis that I need to essentially justify, being abusive and hostile.
Dude, that's almost the part that makes me think these people are just cunts. They're not actually truly mentally ill, because some of them, I've noticed the same thing you just described there. They actually seem, I guess they try it a couple of times, just saying what they think, and then get like a bad response, like not what they want. They actually seem cognizant, not of the fact they're mentally ill. They just seem cognizant of the fact that no one else will actually take the real reason and respond the same way.
Yeah.
So they always do that, don't they? They always sort of almost like focus group and try. Like, I get the maddest ones ever, dude. I'll get people who have been hate tweeters for like 10 years.
Yep.
But what they'll do is they'll sit and they'll wait till someone gets blocked for like a questionable one. Like, someone said something that just pissed me off in the moment, I blocked them. And they'll join with that guy and go, yeah, he does the same thing to me. He does it to everyone, really. Like, meanwhile, that'll be like the most hateful cunt of all time. But somehow they're cognizant enough to know, like, if I reveal my true form, they will despise me. Like, so they always hide behind this thing of like a reasonable. That's why the thread is, it's always sort of like, I guess I like some of his work, but it's like, and then they just put all the shit that they clearly hate. Yeah. Because that is a weird phenomenon I've noticed.
Yeah, and it's like there's one guy who's like, he's a throwback to like League of Legends on the subreddit.
Okay.
He's been on Reddit for 10 years, and he's been posting about me for probably like
classic
8, 9 of those 10, maybe even the full 10. And people like this, here's what they do. Richard Lewis shouldn't be a host because he doesn't have game knowledge, and we all know you need game knowledge to be a host. They announce Shocks, fantastic pickup as a host. And it's like, listen, I agree with you. Right?
Yeah.
I think that's a fantastic pickup. But you're saying a host has to have game knowledge to condemn me. I unquestionably have more game knowledge about CS.
Absolutely.
And I would never pretend to be like a high-level mind at the game or anything than someone who's like doesn't even.
Pretty sure she would acknowledge she knows fuck all. But
it's like
exactly.
Shocks' strengths are all in, being fastidiously researched, narrative building, stuff like this. Me and Shocks have a lot of overlap in our philosophies as to how to approach a desk, honestly, from what I've seen. But she's got a fantastic degree of polish and dedication. Also, I'm a bit curmudgeonly. She's more up for a laugh if there's a segment that requires to do a fucking sing along or a dance or to be made fun of. She will absolutely lean into that in a way that I probably won't. So you get lots of positives with it. So I fully support it. But the reason you have said I can't be a host applies to this person. So now what do you do? Well, what you do is you just go with the contradiction. You just pretend it never happened. Because otherwise, it's like I say, a lot of these people are just tortured by the cognitive dissonance of their everyday existence. It's like, it's okay just to say, there is something about your personality I don't like, and I irrationally hate you for it. And as a result, don't think you shouldn't be hired for anything. Like, just be honest about it. Just like lean into that, because it's fine. No one can stop you doing it. No one even wants to. So, but it just looks silly when you then, Richard, you can't have a journalist work a desk and then obviously they hire another journalist. What a bloody brilliant journalist. You can't go back and forth like this. So.
Oh, do you know what my favourite one was, Richard? I scoured these threads. I couldn't find it, mate. I thought to myself, well, as soon as I open this thread, they're going to go mental because their hero, James Bardolph, wasn't hired. No one gives a fuck, Richard. That whole thing was fake. It was a fake drama. They don't even care that he wasn't hired. By the way, by their logic, he was both abused, mistreated by his peers, cocked by the org, and now they don't even give him another major. Because remember, it was never about him working in CSGO, because he also wasn't barely working in the game.
Yeah, but so
to me, I find that absence so
here's what's really interesting with that, right? All boys club. And I've seen so many people uncritically repeat this phrase. It's like it's actually been brought back into the vernacular.
It has,
because of what James Bardolph did on that broadcast. Why are none of the old boys club he was talking about hired then for this event? What a shit old boys club there is. We can't even get ourselves jobs.
Yeah. Apparently, by the way, we'll all band together to fuck Bardolph for no particular reason. It was even a friend of a lot of us. To help Semler, it wasn't even to help Semler, you morons. That was just the person who stood in and volunteered last minute. Yeah. And in get Moses a few more games. But then, despite the fact we have that incredible power, we can't just get ourselves into the next major. No. Can't even as a group. By the way, that would be the most powerful negotiating group ever in CSGO as well. We can't even just get to the event.
Yeah. No, but I mean, like I said, we'll talk about the emissions. But for me, it was like the only thing that pissed me off a little bit and made me kind of sad. And it's like, look, I'm beyond trying to pretend this stuff doesn't get on top of me at times, because it does. Because essentially what I'm looking at every time it happens is the complete erasure of everything I've contributed over a 16-year period to a game that I used to love, but now find myself increasingly indifferent to, because the community is so hostile and unwelcoming, even to people even to people that have really tried to help the game down the years. So because I put so much of myself into all my work, and have largely for 16 years defined myself by my work, to see people just dismiss it, and it's not a particularly nice feeling. But I was never going to work this major. As I said, they sounded me out on it. I said, no, these are the people you should hire. I don't mind. I've seen too much esports talent stay too long in the spotlight, and the makeup starts to melt, and it's just creepy and weird and gross. So what pissed me off is, why am I being abused for not being hired when I said back in November of 2021 I wasn't doing the next one? I don't get that. It's not a victory. I am out.
Oh, there's one thing, by the way,
it's not because of anything you guys did. It's not because of anything I said. It's not because I fucked up in any way. It's because I am trying to be gracious and just go and do something else and allow other people to have the hiring opportunity, especially in a position where there's not a lot of hosts. I definitely could fucking elbow my way back to the table.
Oh, you could have been the backup host for this one, of course.
But what kind of cunt would do that? What kind of cunt would do that? What kind of cunt would, I like Freya, I like Shots, I like Frankie, I like James Banks. I don't want these people feeling that we're all in some death battle for one seat. It's like, it's yours now. It's fine. I'm good with it. So it's just really weird, to see people so hostile. And as I said, specifically hostile towards you and me, in the sense that there was a thread made. Why do you hate Richard Lewis? And
fucking hell. Also, who are these admins? Why is that even kept up? Every rule that violates everyone. Witch hunting, fucking personal attacks. It's not even about CSGO. Exactly, it's mental.
And it's just this wall of like fictitious.
Oh, it was the loads of people. It wasn't just like 2 people.
Mate, it had like 150 comments, bro.
Okay, now
just up there all day.
Because there's another thing I'm sure you're sick and tired of. It's another reason, by the way.
More comments than Get Well Zeus. Again, you'll know.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Here's another reason why I'm also glad to be in the world where I might never do another event again, another LAN event. Because I tell you what, I'm so bored of. Right, remember, Richard, they told me at my second major I will never be hired again. I have had an entire world-class broadcast career that would be first ballot Hall of Fame since that event. But they still play the same shit fucking goalpost moving game where it goes like this, Richard. If I'm hired to the event, it's fraudulent. I'm not even relevant. And why was I hired? It's obviously a conspiracy. If I'm not hired, there's no way I could have been hired and turned it down. I'm a liar and I desperately want to work the event. And all they do is constantly try and whiplash you between those two positions. And it's so fucking shit because guess what? There are no one in here. I don't think anyone in CSGO history has turned down more events than me. I've turned down 3 fucking majors. 3! One of them isn't even because of the country. Just said fucking no. Like, I don't think these guys out there realize, like, other people might have turned down 1 major, like, ever. I know you did a couple, obviously, in the early days, but, like, generally people, it's the opposite. They are desperate to get these events. So, like, why they have to keep playing that shit game? Like, I know they must do it just because they know it triggers me or something, but it's so fucking pathetic.
It is.
Like, how can we simultaneously be such old boys? We're hooked in the network and get everything, but then also we've now and every time, by the way, we don't work an event. Finally, everyone else in the world has realized, like this random moron, that we're a dickhead, and now we're definitely being kicked out the scene. It's like my favorite one ever, Richard. Like it happened to the end of last year, as you can imagine, when all mad people who weren't in esports were mobbing me. There were people who would put comments. These are the ones where you know the person isn't on the reservation. Where the person had put a comment like, "Yeah, I used to follow him in League, but we kicked him out in like 2014." It's like, again, brother, like I've made more League content than anyone in history. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, this just beggars belief. Like, we're just in people's fantasy realms now. This isn't even reality. But it's just shit tack to take as well.
Yeah, but it you know, so it's
like if you really hate that we're not at the event, celebrate. We're not at the event. Great, you don't have to worry about us anymore. Enjoy all the people who are there. Great.
Yeah. No, but this is what I mean as well. It's like, you know, okay, we're irrelevant. Why are we always the ones that you talk about them when we don't get hired, or if we do get hired? Why are we always the centerpiece of like the bullshit? It's just so bad because it's like, listen, I also think, by the way, the overall reaction and the focus and where the hate got put, it's like just mega disrespectful to the people who did get hired as well. Like, you know, there wasn't like a thread, you know, let's give it up for Lawrence and Scrawny finally getting a major, or Hugo and Harry finally getting a major, or, you know, hey, Vince is getting to do another major. You know, there was none of that. There's no positivity. There wasn't a single thread like, you know, praising anybody, you know.
Mate, if I was Vince, I'd be like, why is there no comments saying that they're glad I'm hired, but there's all these comments saying they're glad Rich Lewis and Thor weren't hired? Like that. How would that feel? Imagine when you do that, your first real mate. Remember, he only got that fucking game because we sort of stuck him through the back door culturally on that last Face It one. Like, this is a proper major for this guy. Like, this should be the crowning moment of all. It's even, by the way, I know people miss this. This is his comeback. This is it for real.
And not only that, by the way, he nearly missed out on it because he had a real bad case of COVID.
Oh.
And I was like, so that was part of the problem. Like, we're talking about all the moving pieces that happened at the last minute. Vince and Blair were going to do the RMRs, and Vince got COVID and was too sick. And that was where Jackie and Davey come in, you know, the No Majors Club alumni strikes again, right? And so it looked like they were going to do the major for real because they did a great job at the RMRs. But obviously Vince's health improved, and him and Blair obviously have worked with PGL loads in the past. And so it was just like, listen, Davey, Jackie, we're going to put you back on the cooling rack for a little bit. Great job. We'll get you back in some other time. And Vince and Blair get to do their major. So again, it's like, mate, this is just what you're up against. I saw somebody post in the thread where somebody said, I just want to say, I see lots of names I recognize, but who is this Vince? And now keep in mind, Vince is the most tenured caster on that list.
Yeah, yes. Yep.
Like, it's not, you know, he's been doing it longer than probably anyone else there. And
probably done more lands than most of the people on that list.
Yeah, and so somebody underneath replied with, what was it? They said, yeah, Vince has been around for ages. And so the first guy replied with, does he have any iconic calls? I might know.
He probably has one of the best.
Yeah, and somebody said he's the guy who did the Cold Zero, the man, the myth, the beast.
Yes.
And the guy replied underneath going, a few people have said that might be the guy. It is the guy. It is the guy. What do you mean might be the guy? Can anyone tell me who he is? He's this guy. That might be true. Fuck up, man. What's wrong with you? So, like, imagine, like, I know Vince knows to stay off Reddit, but again, I'd be so triggered. Like, surely there are people saying it's great that one of Counterstrike's oldest sons is coming back to the and it's just hatred about Richard Lewis and memes. Okay, cool. Yeah, brilliant. It's ridiculous. So anyway, go on. We'll do the emissions. No Moses, no Anders, no Semler, no you, no Yanko. Listen, so I guess we can get the Yanko one out the way super easy. Because Jacob knows I feel this way. So, because I'm honest with my mates, like, he's too vanilla for me. He's, it's not to say he's bad at what he does. He's also an incredibly tenured pro. He's played for Team Liquid, played at a super high level. Arguably, that out of all of the analysts we've still got active, Pimp's probably the one that has played at the highest level.
I think he does. Like, if people don't know, Maniac he was like a role player. Pimp was like a star player. But people know he was a very good player.
So, I mean, he was a European export, to NA. So at a time when NA was still good. So so it's not that I think he's like a bad pick in terms of experience. It's just in terms of broadcast flavor, how I would want to run a desk. I think as a host, I would struggle to extract the necessary spice from Jacob. That's it. That's all it is. But, he's still very good at what he does, obviously. But for me, if it's a choice between him or Yanko, it's like a no-brainer. So I'm very confused as to, like, Yanko and Maniac have established themselves as such a good duo.
They were slam dunks for me. That was an obvious too high.
Yeah, it's like, so, and when you've got Maui is like the third guy, because thank God PGL took him away from doing those interviews and put him back on the desk where he belongs. I have no insight as to why Yanko wasn't hired for this. I can't think of a reason. Like, you can't think of a valid reason.
I mean, what I heard behind the scenes was I can't say he wasn't considered because I can't know what their brain is, but I believe it wasn't even on the cards. They didn't even make any attempt to hire him as far as I can tell, which to me is nuts because, first of all, I've put my money where my mouth is. I've even told fucking E-League hire him over me because because it's the same principle. We only had 2 analysts for that major. So I was like, look, I'd say I'm top 2, but Moses is sat next to me. I can't just say, don't hire him as well. Like, so in that scenario, if I want to put my money where my mouth, it has to be me that goes. So I did. So fair enough. Yanko got in on that. But what I don't get is this. This would almost be acceptable if this was last year's major. And you're like, well, he's only been back for this. Like, no, he did all of last year. He even did the last major. Like there is I can't see a single reason not to do it. Like, he's a model pro. By the way, he can at any moment give you all the spice you want. He's even gotten funny. When we first met him, he was just a guy who had bet like.
Oh, he was Ivan Drago.
Now he's got fucking jokes like, mate, that joke he made on the last major was fire. You remember after the series where Vitality lost to Navi, and I did that thing where I went, Kyoji might be the worst player ever to win that major, and he goes, you soon forget about Zeus or whatever. I'm like, who's that? Who's piping up with that? That's fire, by the way. That's a banger. So I can't imagine what reason you could have not to. And also, by the way, it wasn't involved in any of that drama with Bardolph. Didn't do anything to PGL. I don't think he even said anything publicly about them being fucked up. Like, that one is a pure mystery to me. That one I just think is just a terrible decision.
Yeah, very weird, very weird. I mean, and listen, Maniac and Maui Snake. I think in general, I mean, I would definitely have one more analyst there as well.
Having 3 is what seems weird to me, because we had a 3-man analyst desk. We only had 4 people for the analyst. We had 1 rotation. So, like, unless you're going to use a caster at some point, that 3's not enough, surely.
Yeah. So that's a weird one. That's an easy one.
And why have we got 8 casters and 3 analysts? What's going on now, boy? Like, I'll give you a little secret in case this is going to blow anyone's mind. Mostly analysts and casters get paid the same rates, It depends on how good you are. So if people don't know, like, they are just going to make those analysts work way more for the same money than the casters.
Yeah. Yeah, which is why, by the way, we've said it many times. When those pro players come in, as the first few events as an analyst, they're like, what the fuck? When they all think it's like the cushy job. I'll do no such and CS or whatever. It's like, well, you'll find out. You'll find out. You'll know. And it's like, and meanwhile, they're watching the casters come in the afternoon because they're call time 6 or whatever, Yeah. It's being an analyst. It's not, or a host. That's the tough job on a broadcast. But anyway.
And also, here's the reason why it's so mad to me. They only hired 3, Richard. Because if you just hire one more and it's Yanko, my complaints about the analyst segment are over. I don't have a problem. Yep. Like, outside of those names, who are the best other analysts? Me, I'm not doing the event. Moses isn't an analyst anymore. He chooses to be a commentator, and Sponge has become a commentator. That's it. You've got all the best. The best thing is, if you hired those four, by the way, you've got the two you must hire, Yanko Maniac, who was mega. You've got Pimp, who has his own flavor. And if obviously I'm not the story, and Maui Snake is the up and comer. Like, I think that would have
nailed
it.
And also, crucially, a North American, right?
So yeah, that's another good angle.
Yeah. You have to have this is something that's at an international event. You have to have someone who has an understanding of the Americans scene. I mean,
he'll know things about some of those smaller teams from North America, South America that we won't, for sure. Yeah, he'll have some of the inside info. Yeah,
it's why
I think that has value.
It's why what I've always wanted is one of those old school Brazilian guys to like retire. The ones who obviously have traveled and speak really fluent English. I've always wanted one of them to retire and come into the broadcast bit. Because now, because let's be real, in the Americas, region, you're looking at 6 Brazilian teams, and you're probably looking at 2-3 realistic in NA, and Complexity, Team Liquid, obviously the big two. And so, who better to tell their stories than Brazilian players who will have like little insights into it and stuff. It just hasn't happened yet, but I feel I've always said it. I think whatever Fallen decides to do post Imperial, I certainly hope he gives some serious consideration to being on a broadcast, because I think he'd be mega. I'd take Taco too. I think either of those two guys would just really round out a desk super nice. So anyway, but yeah, listen, as you say, I think 3 analysts is, they've underdone that one a little bit. No problem with the people they hired, but Yanko's exclusion is a big one. And then,
by the way, I'll even agree with the point you made earlier. If we're going through all the people, one thing I think's hilarious is this is where morons can't help themselves, Rich. They made the rod for their own back when they said you had to have worked all the CSGO events for the last 2 years. Because spoiler, Shox doesn't qualify at all, ever. Last event she worked was with me at Blast at the beginning of 2020 before we all went online. Now, here's the thing. Obviously, I don't have an issue with that, Richard. I would even pick her as my first pick, knowing that you're not working the event and that Machine's a caster now. She would be my first pick because she's going to do an amazing job. And by the way, we need her in CSGO. All the other hosts, rather, are still too inexperienced. Like, by the way, if fans are out there, don't get it, and they're like, what about Freya? This is Freya's chance. She gets to shadow the best ever to do her role live in person. By the way, the best thing is, because Shox isn't even a CSGO person, she can just pick up all the other stuff from her. She just ask her all that stuff, and then do some of the event, and then next event's when she'll be ready. That's when her time to be the star is, to be the host. So I think the Shox pickup is a brilliant one. I'm just saying, stupid fans have made themselves a rod for that one. Like, you're the ones who set up the impossible scenario on that, guys.
Yeah, there was also a bit of a weird thing I heard, which I don't know if it's true or not, but Pgl were basically saying they wanted the casters that were working the major to work the RMRs.
Yeah, I heard something like that. I heard that might have been why names might not be on.
And this is why some of these names aren't there, because they just wrapped up ESL Pro League, which, spoiler guys, that is a massive chunk of your time in the calendar.
Yeah, of course.
And you don't go home, or even on those weekends off when no one's playing. That's when the talent come in and do research, record, all those little skits and stuff they've been doing. So it's a huge commitment. And then, I think it would have been something insane. Like, if you'd gone straight from ESL Pro League to the RMRs, you would have been on the road for something like mental, like overall.
Oh, and by the way, Moses would have had Blast after that, then the major. So I'm not joking. He might have just had like 12 weeks in a row. Like,
it was. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it was something insane. Like, you're getting awards like 90 days on the road or something there. And so, I get it. But it also seems to me that that's never been a prerequisite.
No, I've never heard of it. There's that ever.
And also, as we know, it wasn't that dispensations weren't being made, because Alex Machine, he couldn't do the RMRs. So, which is why you ended up with Sponge having other partners and stuff. So a weird one. But anyway, no Anders, no Moses, no Semler. I know the community's massively down on Semler right now. It makes me super sad. One of the reasons why I've really enjoyed doing Pop Flash with him over on the DeSoto channel is I kind of feel that trifecta. I mean, someone even said on that Reddit thread I was talking about at the start of the show, I just think they're saving their best jokes for Pop Flash now.
I love the idea, right? That we've come to the point where before our jokes are all shit. Now they're like scripted with like writers. I know. Got like a fucking which can I spare for buying them? Sorry, Richard. It has made the cut. It's on Pop Flash tonight.
Yeah, I know.
We're making a shop on the fly, just talking for 2 hours on the fly, innit? Come on.
So
I wish I had fucking material I was dispensing around. Sure, be better material for a start off. I wouldn't throw out all those ones that I scuff the end on and just go, oh well, workshop that like. Sound.
Yeah, workshop that one. But anyway, so I think it's been good because I think it's shown him a little bit more in like a different light, let's say, and shows that he has got a.
Dude, the whole topic actually depresses me because if people don't know, he is one of the just most chill, coolest guys to ever work in esports. And because of especially now with a bunch of like the political things, people are just painting him like the biggest cunt of all time. Like, ask this question, see if I can get an answer on a postcard. What has he ever done? What one thing has this guy ever done? What crime has he committed? What hateful statement has he ever said that you can't ever go back? None of this, by the way, none of it. Remember, he didn't even do any of the things they said about that women shit. That's why I keep thinking, like, aside from go to Overwatch, which I still don't get why that would be the end of the world. What has he done? What has he done wrong? I sort of know what it is, Richard. Part of it's like, he did too many games. He's like oversaturated the fucking A's in a way, hasn't he? Like they did 1 billion games a summer. And also, if you notice, it's happened to all of us now. The Zoomers are just desperate that anything before their time cannot exist and continue. It must be removed because their generation is here now, and Launders is their fucking avatar apart. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're on some fuck thing where it's like they somehow identify like as though they've made it because Launders and
I mean, on the one hand, there is like some element of truth in that, but I'll also just tell you, it is a tale as old as esports itself. That
the turnover like that happens every couple of years.
What the community love to do. Listen, it's not unique to esports. It's just in esports, we do it quicker and, in my opinion, more vitriolically. We just like to build people up for the express purposes of tearing them down. And it's like, and I've talked about it on the show previously, so I won't go over it and over it and over it and do a greatest hits. But it's like, for example, what's Henry ever done? What's Henry ever done? He was a player. Right.
Oh, mate, they'll literally support a team that goes with NFTs, but Henry's a piece of human shit because he's involved in NFTs. I don't get it still. I don't get it.
He was a player, so he dedicated most of his young life to excellence at the game. He unfortunately played the, inferior version, the one that wasn't as big. So he wasn't a household name. However, when CSGO came out and the scenes kind of atom smashed, he still had a little bit of tenure at the end. He still had a little bit of juice left in the tank. And then he went on to be a caster, started with me, obviously via the road walked, ended up with Sadakist. The duo many people still consider to be not just the greatest in CSGO, but one of the greatest duos we've had in any esport. Contributed so many great moments between 2017 and 2019. Won awards, then moved to Cloud9. I don't remember anyone saying this is a bad move when they appointed Henry G and Casada. I remember everyone being excited about it. I remember when he was announcing the players, there was a little bit of trepidation around Messi and Floppy, sure, but everyone else felt that the picks were generally good and that the team had promise and that Henry G could do it. And then somewhere around that season of Flashpoint that he said he was going to win before those teams had joined, and he thought it was going to be like a LAN, and then quitting, or rather the Cloud9 project disintegrating and him having to go and do something else with his life, and it being NFTs. People have just decided now, like, all the 2 decades prior, just meaningless. Like, just Henry G's just he's always been a scumbag. He was just reaching his final form. He was just in a cocoon. And now he has blossomed, a butterfly made of shit. And that's what he was always going to be. And that's what they say. And people are like, oh, I'm glad, I'm glad Henry's not back. I'm glad Henry's not involved in the scene. I certainly hope Henry G doesn't, it's like, guys, what is that? What is that? I can't, listen, I'm obviously mega biased. Henry's like family.
Yeah, of course.
But they do it to everybody. I was reading that Sadakist thread the other day, like, again, one of the greatest casters. And trust me, I know Matt's a fucking eccentric cunt. Like, I know that more than anybody else. We all do. We all work with him, but like, so beautifully talented, right? And obviously, by the way, as well, has had issues that you guys would know nothing about behind the scenes and has worked hard to overcome them. We're all human at the end of the day. Not that you would ever treat us like that. and made some fucking, bad mistakes, bad errors of judgment, tried to atone for it, and I just see people saying there's just no room for a sadist anymore. I see people are down on Moses. The Anders one's mind-blowing to me.
Oh, it's wild.
Anders hate threads in CS.
I know.
Like, I can't abide it, guys, because it's like here's what you're telling the current generation, by the way, the ones that you like for now and will hate tomorrow.
Yep.
You're telling them their efforts are utterly fruitless, that there will be no fond memory, there will be no Hall of Fame, there will be no happy send-off. You will just stay in esports long enough to the point where everyone thinks you're a piece of shit and wants you to die. That's your final destination point in esports. That is the only point. We are all on a singular journey to reach that point, no matter what we do, no matter how good our contributions are. If you stay in the industry long enough, you will end up there. And so, it's very hard because I'm like super happy for like Launders and Scrawny, Harry and Hugo especially. I'm so glad they're getting a shot at it. Obviously, Maui as well. I'm super happy for all the people who got hired for this major. And like I said, like I put out publicly, don't let the noise take away from the moment in the sun. But it's very hard for me to say, go like, oh, you'll enjoy it now. You won't. Here's what'll happen. You're gonna have one bad call at the major, or you're gonna mess the defuse up, and you're gonna do the call as if they make the defuse. But they don't, and the bomb goes off, and everyone's going to say you're a shit caster, and there's going to be 10 Reddit threads about it, and then someone's going to go on HL TV and say, do you remember when he got that thing wrong? And then someone's going to say this, someone's going to say that, and then the narrative is going to be you're just not very good at your job, and then the narrative is going to be actually that duo should break up, actually, And I never really liked him anyway. Actually, he wasn't all that good. And then what's going to start happening is, because our industry is so childish, the people that make the hiring decisions are going to be like, lots of noise about this caster, like maybe we shouldn't hire them anymore, maybe they're not popular, maybe they're not as good, let's give someone who charges less another chance. And now suddenly you're not getting hiring opportunities, so now you're like, well, fuck it, actually I have had an opportunity to go to Valorant, so I guess I have to do that to supplement my freelance income now. And then you go to the other game, and then those same people that over a very minor mistake said you were no longer fit to cast their game, they're going to be there, and they're going to make Reddit threads about how you're a turncoat and a traitor. The petty tribalism of esports is going to come spilling out of their fucking 80 IQ brains, and they're going to tell everyone, see, he wasn't in the game, no wonder he was so bad the last time. He was phoning it in, Duncan, he was phoning it in the whole time. Never loved the game, never loved the sport. How dare he go and do another game? And then you're going to do that other game, and then people are going to like you over there, and then you're going to get a chance to come back to Counterstrike. Will they welcome you with open arms? Will they fuck? Maybe 50% or so. It's good to have you back, but they'll still be there. The ones that pushed you out in the first place, and it's Reddit threads and social media noise, and round and round it goes until you quit. So what is the point? Like, for real, what are we all building towards? People always people say, why do so many casters go and do other things? I fucking wonder.
I know, exactly.
I fucking really wonder about that, guys.
It has unironically got some of the lowest job satisfaction levels of any job in esports I can think
being broadcast talent sucks, because you go from a high when you're a new voice and people have no expectations about you, so they're mega pleasantly surprised. I experienced that when I did start.
Yeah, sure.
People are like, oh wow, fucking hell, like this guy that we've never heard before, it's super cool. But then eventually on a long enough time scale, you just end up sick of his voice, sick of his face. He's fat, ugly scum. Did you see that tweet he made in 2015? Yeah, I also heard he did this thing that I've just made up in my brain now, because I can't distinguish between him and another human being that did do that thing. And round it goes until you just don't want to work anymore. And then when you go and do something else, they say you never cared in the first place. So yeah. So I mean, listen, back to the point. Like Anders and Moses not being there is the one that, like, they're the surprising names. I kind of feel like Semler's on the outs anyway, just from his own personal life choices.
Oh, yes, sort of. Like, look, he's exiting the industry to some degree, as it is anyway. That's why, actually,
who could blame him?
through some of the things we're going to do with our company, the pot flash. Or at least we can keep him in some sense. We can keep his foot in the door a little bit. But yeah, I don't blame him. It's time to move on. Yeah, rather than just stick around waiting for them to love you when they never will. One thing I want to ask about, actually, because this is another thing I found mental, is this has to be a product of Zoomers and the new generation, Richard. Because this is the weird thing I get. I've followed sports my whole life, mate. Like you, I've watched loads of different sports. It's the other way in every sport. When you're the most legendary caster, it's the opposite. If anything, you could be really old, dude. Some of them, when they get to like 80, you're barely even like making sense anymore, but they're just so legendary. You let them hang in there, don't you? Go, fuck it, shut up.
They are in wrestling.
Done Madden or something, mate. Shut the fuck up. Like when I follow a sport, if I have a legendary caster, mate, I'll watch until the earth explodes. Like I'll never get bored of watching that guy. So I don't get this trend like you're talking about, where it is like a 2 or 3 year carousel. Like by the time that you've got to the top and they say you're on top, the same guy is like trying to bring you down off top again. Somehow they don't appreciate the legendary cat. I don't get it, mate. You would think like it's like you say, especially here's the difference. Semler at least now has other reasons that people might dislike him. Me and you have things we say that people might not like. I don't get the Moses and the Anders one. How could you hate Moses and Anders? Again, beyond just like, if you don't like their voice, I get it. Look, I can't stop that. Or maybe you don't like Anders' accent. That could be something. But if it's other than that, it's like, if you genuinely just think they're not good at their job and they're not good enough to work a major, like, I'm not exaggerating. This will sound crazy to other people, because I know to other people it's about the games, not the talent, etc. But to me, unironically, Richard, when I watch this major, it will make the major worse that there's no Anders and Moses. I'll feel like it's not a proper major. It won't feel as special. Like, those are people who, for me, they're in my brain. They're the household of Counterstrike. I even like the fact, by the way, as mad as it sounds, that when I'm not at an event, I still get to watch them on screen. I almost feel like, checking in with them, like seeing what they're up to, what they think about the game. I think it's sad as fuck that we're just letting that one go by. It's not even a big deal that those two people aren't hired.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I mean, there wasn't room for everybody, and so I guess I just feel in their instance it's not really a changing of the guard. Like whereas I'm saying I won't be back, and you're kind of saying
I certainly hope they're not leaving the fucking scene. I hope they keep working more events.
No, but I mean, and just one last thing, and I don't even know. I might cut this out with the final word, because it's just like the thing I fucking also hate is this idea that people just went out and crafted narratives about why people weren't there.
There was a lot of stupid shit like that, yeah, for sure.
Like, so the Anders one again, just, like what a mad position he's been put in just by the sole virtue of not being hired, where people are going, yeah, well, Anders isn't going because he's anti-vax and all this shit. And it's like, first of all, he's had it. He had it specifically so he could go to this event because it was a requirement. And then wasn't hired anyway. So, it's just like, guys, like, listen, the voices in your head aren't reality. Like, I don't know how we can permanently get that point across. But the biggest problem with social media is just, it just lets unstable people tell lies without any critical pushback. There's just nothing you can do. If the lie sounds palatable, up dukes to the left, happy cake day, my homie. If somebody even slightly pushes back on a circle jerk, downvoted into oblivion, and away it goes. It's like Reddit and Twitter are just awful platforms for any form of like discourse. So anyway, let's talk about a funny thing, because we're doing that thing where the dark social media content again.
That was a throwback for all the.
All the people who said,
the people who said there was no more petty grievances.
It's just not petty anymore.
No, exactly.
But let's start with this one. Jackson GG, the Danish news site, have decided they're going to start naming names about the people who've been using the coach bug. And I don't know why they've framed it this way, but for some reason they've done it in the style of those old anonymous videos.
I know, it's mad, isn't it?
Which is just so mental, because there's just no need.
I know.
Why are you anonymous? Like, you're a publication. Like, we all know who you are. We know your name's on the article. So it was just a really weird phrase. It's a bit cringe, but whatever. Anyway, the first name they've pulled out was literally what we were talking about just at the end of the last episode, and that is Peacemaker Productions. And they've actually included a video of the bug in use. And I'll just read you what it says. As part of E6's delayed investigation into the now infamous coaching bug, a reported additional 52 individuals could be sanctioned. That was the report I put out earlier. According to Jackson's sources, one of the names on that list is Imperial's head coach, Lewis Peacemaker to do. So if you understand, by the way, Imperial having qualified for the major, this is one of those ones that could have an impact. Peacemaker has been investigated for using the coaching bug in 2018 while at the helm of Heroic. Ooh, guys. It never ends. He entered the so-called no clip bug, which, by the way, the no clip bug is the worst one. Something Jackson was able to confirm. In the free roam variant of the coaching bug, coaches could move freely across the map. They are either stuck in one place or on a player with the other variants. It is not known if and how Peacemaker will be punished, as Jackson could only verify one instance of the bug usage. Now, what I'll say is, though, having seen the instance, it's not even up for debate. He enters the no-clip bug and is zooming all around the map. Like, it's all over the place. And, it was in ECS Season 5, Heroic versus Imperial. And it's very hard to imagine, by the way, that based on how he's using the bug, he's literally following players through apartments. He's following the CT through apartments while his team's playing T on Infernal. It's very hard to imagine he wouldn't communicate where people were. Otherwise, why would you be following them? So
exactly.
It looks to me, out of all the examples I've seen, out of all of the delayed 52, this is one of the most egregious ones, and I think he will be getting a not insignificant ban personally. But where it gets especially delicious, Duncan, is I would just like to draw everyone's attention to a tweet made on September 4th.
This is mega. It's got to be. It's almost like the universe made this for this show. Bearing in mind, we've always had all those jokes about Peacemaker and all the. It's like they brought him back because if the problem was he became too nice, didn't he? Like we're actually sort of liking him the last year and a half. So you have to bring a bit of the spice back in because this is amazing. Because in case people don't know, I hinted when I said about some of the names that one of them would be very spicy in light of how they had responded to this incident. Because people haven't thought of that yet. Remember, some of these coaches will think that it's done and dusted. Everyone was caught and they got away with it. So go on then. Tell me, what was the tweet?
So the tweet said, and this was on September 4th, 2020, there is officially no way.
Great start already in the light of what we know now. It's amazing. I know. Essentially, if you stopped and you said, reverse engineer how this could be worse if later on you got caught doing it. Like, he's done the best job ever.
It's like having seen the video of you doing it.
I know, exactly.
There is officially no way I have ever used the coach bug. First, I don't join the server first. And when I join the server, I always warm up. My players always have to tell me to, ? Sort of eye roll emoji. So, and then all of the players he's tagged all are saying to him, we always say, go coach, as if he's not actually going into the coach mode. And I'm guessing there's some particular quirk of the bug that to activate it, you have to go on the server before the players, which, by the way, doesn't seem to be true based on some of the other instances of the bug.
I think that was just the first thing people speculated, though, if you remember. Yeah.
So turns out that now that there's a video of him doing it, that tweet's probably going to come back and haunt him a little bit.
Because that's the part that I find wild about it, dude. Look, thankfully...
Starbucks did it too, though, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. But here's the thing. Through my experience with people on Twitter, I am fully aware that, yes, people will, say something to you to provoke you, knowing you have all the skeletons in their closet and can just destroy them instantly. So I understand humans are irrational. But in this particular case, the reason it's mad to me is because, dude, in your heart, you know you did it. You might one day be caught. Why take the chance of coming out against it? Why even expressly promise you haven't done it? Like, that part almost feels like, what is some problem almost from it? What's going on? Why, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck's causing to, why would you essentially virtue signal for something you definitely know you did?
Yeah, but here's the thing. It is also possible, because it was one instance in 2018, that by 2020, you have just forgot.
People say that, Richard, but here's another problem I have, right? Look, I know I have a particularly good memory. I can't claim everyone else had the same natural abilities. But people do this. I know you have the same thing happen. There'll be like a famous person goes, I've never even tweeted him. You look, he tweeted 20 times and one was like an outrageously offensive one. Like, you really forget all those. Like, that's how... Because that's the problem, mate. I can forget a lot of things. Would I forget cheating? Would I forget cheating in a professional game? I don't think so. I imagine that would stick in my mind.
Look, I'm inclined.
You might have wanted to forget it, but
but also as well, I mean,
how long ago was the bug used, by the way? Do you know?
Yeah, 2018. 2018.
Oh, right. So it was about 2 years before then. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, listen, also you have to understand, based on Peacemaker's life, I bet every day is a stressful nightmare, So sometimes I guess stuff just goes in and out. And look, I'll also say it. I've had people tell me stories from like, I met you at an esports event in 2015, and X, Y, and Z happened, and there's just nothing there.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I mean, I could have been drunk, but I don't get blackout drunk so often. So I don't know, mate. To me, it just seems it's within the realm of possibility.
That's if there's only one instance, though.
Yes. And look, from my understanding, because again, I looked at the list, I think he is only on there for this. It's just one of the most egregious examples. Why Jackson led with this one is because it's so hilariously incriminating, because he's literally following CTs in no clip mode. And you can see T's on the other side mysteriously reacting to their position. It's like, it is very damning.
Dude, that's why that one's weird to me, though, because here's the thing. The one where you would just stock, some of them, like, I don't even know if you could, some of them were almost like a static position, like a literal, like, cam in fucking, like they say in the Valorant or whatever, right? But here's the one I don't get. That one has plausible deniability. You can say I was trapped and I was just trying to get out of it. If you're really, like, following the players, zooming around, you're going to have a hard time claiming that was an accident or you didn't know what was happening. It's just too egregious.
Oh, he's going to have to tank it. But what's crazy is he hasn't said anything. He's not made
still.
Yeah, I'll just double check that now. I'm just going to go on his Twitter now, literally, as we're recording it. Because, I mean, he's not addressed it.
Then again, though, I'll give you an update. This is I shouldn't even be doing this. I'm almost like doing a TMZ segment here, Richard. But because I follow some people on social media, and in the modern day, especially like girls in esports, they post loads of stories, right? Those ones that like disappear after a day. Like, so I saw on one of those from one of the female CSGO players from Denmark. So obviously, there's loads of Nordic girls that were in the scene for years and years. I saw them post a picture of themselves in a nightclub, right, Richard? And they were with Borup, right? A little group of people. Or Hunden's there partying with them. Hunden and Borup were nightclubbing together.
Somebody linked that to on my Discord.
Borup, brother, what are you doing? You were supposed to be the one who came out against him. What is this? You were supposed to destroy the Hunden, not join him, or something. Whatever, prequel memes.
Mate, prequel memes get you into trouble. When are you going to learn?
True. Sadly, that's it. By the way, that is a summary.
I have the high ground
of why I am fucked. Because to me, the prequels are still fresh, but I'm referencing shit 20 years old. Yeah, exactly. I can't win, can I? To me, that's like a cultural reference. Like, yeah, Jar Jar Binks of that.
Mate, the fact that you don't condemn the prequels has been like, even this new trilogy is better than the prequels, dude.
I don't know about that. I feel like it's touch and go on that one. I think they're all bad. Let's be real.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Fuck Star Wars. Anyway, so that's a story that's going to unfold. My understanding as well is that's Jackson are going to keep releasing names.
Oh, and remember, doesn't he currently coach the Imperial team?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So
that's that major done. Then if this gets brought out in time,
because ESIC is saying their finalized report is coming out before the major.
Right.
Spoiler. We're 2 weeks away.
Yeah, that's actually going to be crazy in itself, Richard, because look, even though I understand these people did cheat, I also think it's a bit fucked to drop it like a week before their team plays the major. You're just punishing their team at that point in time,
Yeah. And look, this is part of that broader conversation that I said that we're all going to have, because it's like, right. Oh God, okay. The instances, ESIC knew.
Oh God! Years ago.
Yeah, it's just the investigation just got drawn out. So it's like the argument is this, and by the way, it's not one I subscribe to, but it is one that a fan could make, or I don't know. Listen, not all arguments, by the way, are this is the good argument, this is the bad argument. Of course. Sometimes it's just two sides of the same thing. It's like, for example, with my piece today, I don't want the US Air Force to be advertised in esports, but equally, I also understand that for some people, joining the military isn't a terrible lifestyle choice, and they go in with their eyes open and they're aware. And you always need a military, otherwise you will be at the mercies of the people who have military. So I get it, right? Like, I can see both sides. I can always see both sides. I'm just going with the side that I have a preference to. But anyway, here's the problem. If Peacemaker should have been banned back with the original bans in 2020 or whatever the fuck it was, the fact that he's not been banned, gets a job in Imperial, a job for which he probably would never have been hired had he been banned. Yeah. Or if he would have been hired, certainly wouldn't have had a sort of Damocles hovering over his head.
True.
Now gets them to a major, and then like 1 week before they're meant to get out there, where their coach will be traveling with them as part of the preparations to facilitate their potential success at said major, that org and those players who have done nothing, have nothing to do with this instance from 2018, now must all suffer as a result of E6 delays.
It's fucked up. Yeah.
Now, listen, it's still, in my opinion, it still has to happen.
Oh, it has to happen. Look, we can't go back in time. I get that. But that's my problem. Is like, if I were them, I would have made the deadline for this thing. It had to be done like a month ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Before the RMR, ideally, as you say, so you can't qualify and then find out you can't do it,
Yeah. So it's
I mean, you could even make the argument, by the way, if you want to extend the analogy further. For all we know, maybe Imperial doesn't qualify well, their coach. Maybe they don't qualify if he's not the coach. Like, the problem is the fucking butterfly effect on this is mental, isn't it? Too many years down the line now.
Well, especially as we're talking about 52 people as well.
Oh, and there's the other thing people aren't going to think about. They're going to think because Jackson leaked that one, it's the only one. No, Jackson doesn't have the whole list. That's just one of the ones they'd got a tip about, and they managed to find someone to corroborate, I assume. So my point is this: if you know the whole list, this is going to it's going to be like a repeat of the last one. We're just going to tear the scene in half again.
Well, and this is the other part to it, right? They're obviously me having seen the list and haven't seen all the instances. Some of these instances are so borderline. I'm sure ESA could just going to issue letters of like sanction and not actually take any formal punishments, not give them a sanction. That means they have to miss a major.
Yeah, but logically, remember, I will always bring it back to the precedent. The precedent was set by Valve that if Rugger and Roban, that if they actually have to be punished for what they did, everyone who used it has to be banned from majors. That's just they set that ground, unfortunately.
And look, if we go along with it, and one round on a pistol round one time is going to get you banned from one major, then fuck it. That's 52 people.
It's going to be wild, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, for me, I think there's a little bit of leeway that just because you punish, like the first time you do something, it doesn't mean that has to be the way you punish people all the time. You might say, okay, well, unfortunately, they're going to carry the kind of a terrible decision and a lack of foresight, but we only compound the problem by punishing 52 people to the same severity.
Yeah, but here's the problem, Richard. The reason why in the legal system that could be true is because there's all these moving parts. So it's the same people. Like the same ESIC guy who goes, well, let's not be too heavy-handed. Well, in that case, can we just roll back their bans? Well, I can't. I'd have to talk to the guy who did that, me. Just do it. Just do it now. Figure it out. Make it fair for everyone and just retroactively apply it. Remember, for the major one as well, by the way, this one we can fix completely, Richard, because the minimum ban would have been one major and we're about to have the major. Yeah. So problem solved, right? You could even fix it. It's not too late. We're not 5 years down the line yet. You could roll it back for everyone else.
Yeah. So, look, there's going to be more names coming out. I mean, by the way, fucking everyone's going to have to get a move on. Like, one thing I will say is unconscionable. If ESIC drop the report as people are traveling or after that's unacceptable.
Oh, that could fuck your whole life up, yeah.
Yeah, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. So don't. Like, let's try and get it out before people are like stuck in a hotel in Belgium. Anyway, so Peacemaker hasn't spoken about it. I guess we'll wait and see. Innocent until proven guilty. That is the standard. But the video.
Shame he hadn't thought of that approach the first time round. He'd be in a lot better spot right now, wouldn't he?
You know how it goes, guys. Listen, maybe we'll get him on a show.
In fact, I'll even say this as well. The reason why this is so egregious, Richard, and one of the reasons why when he originally spoke out, I actually sort of like thought it was plausible that, like Yanko, he's someone who was against it. Because if you don't remember, just like Yanko, he was another guy I remember who was willing to like join in some of those battles. Like when I was battling that Forza guy and there were secret recorded demos, he was another guy who seemed like he was like trying to set the scene right. Like, let's not have this fucking corruption. Let's they did that to us in Scrim. So that's why it almost seems against his character, quite frankly. He actually seems generally like he turned his shit around.
Yeah, and look, you know, this is still a million miles away from the 100 stuff.
Oh, I have a question for you, by the way. Bearing in mind, as you say, it's a good distinction to make as well. The real reason I dislike Hundon is because of all the extra curricular shit and the manipulation and the repeated lies and the double downs on lies and the mischaracterization of like that he was going to be banned for fight. Like he tried everything possible before the end. Right. I want to ask you this. So one of the other problems we're going to have, this maybe even ties into the conversation earlier about how you do one thing and people hate you forever. Yeah. Right. I don't want most of the coaches that cheated, especially not the ones who did it like one time, it was one, but I don't want those guys to be hated on like that. Like they are not somehow like now like irredeemable humans who like forever must carry the mark of Cain, and we must, every time we must bring up that they cheated and that they're scum and that they cheated. Essentially what they did to steal, basically. I don't want that to happen to these guys. So how do you resolve that? Because on the one hand, some of these people, like the egregious ones, some of them have done really fucked up shit. But even then, it's still not like killing someone, man. Like I feel like in esports, you're just not allowed to come back ever. There's no way back, is there, if you do something?
I mean, listen, I think actually what you'll find is the fans for players that cheat or match fix and coaches that cheat or match fix, it's got to be a pretty egregious example. And generally, I think if you were to look at the moral divide in the community, you know, based on, again, looking at social media, you know, I think back to I Buy Power when it was fresh, that was such a you know, such a big story at the time. I mean, looking back, it's almost quaint when you look at how corrupt a cesspit esports actually is now. But, you know, people reacted with, this is outrageous, he should be in prison, look what happened in Korea. You know, like people went fucking mental, right? Shit. Over the top. That was the genuine viewpoint, and people fully support, like there was more people supporting lifetime bans. There was a weird narrative about how Brax was some like little kid. And,
that's right. Yes, yeah. He was like the one they took exception with, right?
Yeah, and you know, Jason Lake wrote that open letter famously, if you remember, where he begged Valve to show some, you know, leniency because he was young and impressionable. Which, listen, compared to Dazed and Steel, fair enough, and he did have mitigating circumstances. This is why, by the way, blanket lifetime bans with no appeal are not good in any way, shape, or form as a punitive measure. But, you know, what I noticed was by the time you fast forward to, like, let's say 2020, just arbitrarily, the sentiment now is they've done their time. In general, it's like a 70-30 split, still maybe 75-25, but the general consensus is they've done their time. It was one match, it was blown out of proportion. Look at how rife the match fixing is now in leagues like ESEA. Look at those players that have gone to Valorant, winning tournaments now, it seems. You know, were we too harsh on I Buy Power? And there is a holdout on the whole, no, they should be in prison. They're lucky they didn't go to prison. They should have been in prison. I can't tell you what laws they broke, but they should be in bloody prison, I tell you. There is like a little contingent of that, but it's way less than it was at the time. And so I think in general, people like you and me, because we're just generally opinionated people and we're never backwards about coming forwards, we're never going to get any clemency. We will always be the worst. Players and coaches occupy in a space that, you know, Twitter iconoclasts don't. And I think there is actually a path back to forgiveness. You know, people don't bang on Rugger. He's been allowed to come back.
That's true.
Nobody bangs on Finn. He was allowed to come back. He was even kept his job, didn't he? You know, and nobody said anything about that. You know, like you say, the Robban one is probably the most ridiculous because, yes, the bug was happening in a game they lost 16-1. So I don't know what the fuck he was doing. But as I said at the time, you know, if you're in, you're in, I guess. But people, I think, won't. Hundon will always be in a special piece of shit because of all, like you say, the extra additional shit, covering of the tracks, trying to take everyone down with him, holding the org hostage, you know, acting as some sort of weird fucked up spy for Astralis. Like, the story is mad. There's never been anything like it in esports. And as a result, his reputation will always be mud. But I think for the people who, like, get banned for one major, one sanction from something that happened in 2017, 2018, I don't think they are bearing the mark of Cain. We do. We are marked. But not, I don't think the players are. So I think in general, there will be forgiveness. I mean, shit, as I said, it was topical recently for reasons. I saw people over in Valorant saying, does it even matter that these people fix matches in CSGO? They're in a different game now. Who cares?
Holy moly. Okay.
So listen, enjoy that standard and what it'll do to your esport. But it's like I said, I mean, if you want your esport to be an island for all the scumbags and cheats and liars, that's fine. But you will have a pretty scummy, lying, cheating.
Oh, I will say, I saw a tweet that's right in line with what you're saying, where when Note from HLTV, I'll go again to the point of making it, he's actually one of the cool people because he just hasn't decided to irrationally take someone else's beefs and be mental towards us. Weird how we don't act hostile to people like that, Richard, and actually welcome them in the scene. Crazy. So anyway, when he were obviously, because he should, doesn't drop that whole thing about, like, guess what, Marv fucking might have match fixed, etc. The guy was in that top team, right? When he did that, I saw some nutter going like, now, like, stop bringing it up. It's like, as though, like, by the way, like 2 years or something, it's like the fucking statute of limitations on the crime now. Like, what? And remember, these are real crimes, Richard. These aren't even like you broke riots terms. This is like a real world crime. You have defrauded people.
Actually, yeah, I mean, technically, but again, actually, probably not. I mean, the more and more I've looked into it, and I've done lecturing about this stuff and everything. It turns out maybe not even a crime and for some people. So, but yeah, look, I think all these coaches that got this new 52, which sounds like we're doing a DC comics podcast. The new 52, I think there'll be clemency and forgiveness by and large, a little bit of laughing, a little bit of mockery. Peacemaker will get it bad because he's already a divisive figure in the scene.
Of course, yes.
But in general, I think these people will kind of be forgiven. And the good thing is, as far as I can tell, that will close the book on the coach bugs once and for all. Because like I said, some of these cases go back in 2017. These are 5-year-old instances. So the big story that we've skirted around. We front-loaded with petty grievances, self-pity, victim status, all the things you love in a podcast. Let's do it. Cloud9. I should have segued off the Henry thing into it, but whatever. Cloud9 back in the game. Vince as GM. No, they're back in the game. And they've come back to CSGO by picking up the Gambit roster, who, of course, as you know, were not able to represent Gambit because of sanctions against Gambit's owners, despite apparently under protest because the Gambit owners had said, attempted to demonstrate privately that there was no ownership that was given sanctions. It's certainly more complicated in Gambit's case than it was with Virtus Pro. And so, yes, they are back. They've picked up this Russian roster, and everyone's just applauding it, and they don't see any problems with it, despite the weird, murky world of moral inconsistency that it throws us into.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, essentially, the problem here is this, right? This is where, again, the people who are on that Reddit are so fucking feckless. So if I, Richard, was to dare to do a tweet right after that conflict broke out, I would even have people tweeting at me like, why are you tweeting about something as unserious as here? Why aren't you tweeting about the war? So, okay, then something happens involving one of the countries directly related to the war and a country that's been sanctioned and that people can't do business with or send money to anymore. So that'll definitely be the number one theme in the Reddit thread, right? It'll never be about the game and about
just a bunch of Zoomers typing, let's go!
Exactly.
Go, I want to buy the polo shirts. Yeah.
Because here's the thing, we can do a whole thing about what the team's like and what Cloud9 in the game might be like now and what it means. That's all great. Yeah, we can have a whole segment like that. We'll say Pop Flash with the best jokes. Joke on it. But what I would say is this, is like, I agree with you. Basically what you're implying there. Think about this, right? What we're saying is these teams can't compete, Richard, because we don't want them to make money, because when they make money, in some way, that's helping Russia's war effort because they're connected to oligarchs who are connected to Putin. So in a way, very indirectly, fucking 6 degrees of separation of Kevin Bacon, you're somehow supporting Putin when you give them money or let them win money in your tournament. But if you want to sell the team, then I can buy them for money that I send to the team that they then send to an oligarch. Fucking hell. Can you not see how this one works, guys? Like what you're saying is they can't play and win $40,000, but you can pay them $1 million.
Yeah. So that
doesn't make any sense, does it?
Let's get to it, right? So I'm
or whatever the figure is, obviously. I'm ballpark.
It's $1 million.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
So that's what I got told.
Sounds about right.
So listen. So I'm going to just say this. Unfortunately, Cloud9 now must be banned from competing at the major.
By the logic people assumed, yeah. I mean, that proposed was correct.
As in, they can support the team, salary the team. But unfortunately, they have now contributed to Putin's war machine by giving the oligarchs $1 million. And we'll talk about the fuckery to try and get some levels of abstraction going. But unfortunately, if we're being consistent, Cloud9 can't be allowed to contribute $1 million to. What are we saying here, guys? Like, so remember, sponsors, you can't display them. Branding, you can't display it. Right? They made all of the people in the ESL Pro League that represented these orgs even go onto their VK pages, take all the branding out.
Shit, I didn't really do that far. Okay. Fucking hell.
That this was you absolutely, if
you had to memory hole that you were ever in a team, basically.
Yeah. Like, go look it up. Their Twitter banners were all taken down. Their bios were changed. So they absolutely could not say, we are part of this brand. We financially represent this brand and their sponsors. Because, listen, and as I said in this article today about getting rid of the US Air Force, it's not a philosophy I'll go along with, but the world is doing it. That's where we're at.
Yes, I agree. You have to hold people to their own principles.
Yeah,
you have to be consistent.
I don't think it'll change anything because we're applying rules that would work in our flawed but still preferable democracy to what is functionally a dictatorship, and these are non-compatible systems in the sense of what actions will lead to what outcomes. For example, as you pointed out in the past on the show, you can go and protest the Drumpf and you don't end up in a fucking gulag without your due process. It doesn't.
You can hold up a thing of like a mannequin severed head of him, like and nothing will happen to you. You get some tweets. Now, you might, you're like, we have. Try doing that about Putin, by the way. Spoiler: don't try it. It went really badly for you.
Yes, and so look. But I'll come along for the ride. Whatever helps stop the war, I guess. Like, I think what's happening in Ukraine is an atrocity. It's been getting progressively worse. We're now uncovering mass graves. It's out. I never thought I would see something like this again in my lifetime. I thought we were past this level of barbarism, right? And I guess as long as tyrants and dictators exist, that is not true. So I don't like it. I feel very strongly about it, right? But I also think philosophically this idea that, if we apply pressure to all Russian people, somehow if we bankrupt them and make them destitute, they'll rise up and they'll overthrow Putin. I think this is a pipe dream. I think this is a Western pipe dream. Yes. And I think there's got to be a more elegant solution. But no one's proposed one. So, okay, I want to be part of the solution. If this is what you think is going to work, I'll support it, right? I'll come along for the ride. But that's all I'm doing. I think morally we're going to look back on what we did, and I think we're going to really question whether or not it was the right thing when you've got record levels of poverty and maybe in a post-Putin world where Russia wants to come back to the global community it's been shunned from, and there's people are going to have starved.
Oh, it's going to be fucked up, yeah. Because here's the problem. When it doesn't achieve the end you claimed it would, now someone has to ask, was it worth it? And as you say, there will be bodies because of this, mate. There will be ruined lives, fucking a string of things. By the way, there will also be millions of people who hate the West, who hate the West. People who otherwise, by the way, might have been vaguely in the middle. Might have just thought, well, it's not my country. I'm not the one doing it. And I'm not there. So, okay, I'm just a guy living my life. You've now made that guy hate the fucking America and other things like that. So again, like I agree with you. Here's the thing. I obviously wouldn't sanction any of these people. Like, I actually think it's a fucked up approach. And I haven't seen anything to suggest the efficacy's there, especially as you say, because we're also talking about scenarios. I mean, Saddam Hussein proves it, mate. You could have had sanctions against him forever. He was never going to give up. He would just stay in power and he'd go, I'm in a mansion. I don't give a fuck. You're the guy starving. I'm fine, mate. He was laughing at those sanctions.
As I've explained as well, I mean, like, so because look, obviously I have read extensively about the Iraq and Afghanistan, the post 9/11 landscape. I consider myself very well read on it. I wrote about it. I campaigned, and marched. I was involved in student politics back at that time. So look, it is an absolute truism, especially if you know anything about the region or have ever talked to Iraqi people. I've got friends who actually fled Saddam Hussein's Iraq, who live locally. Birmingham has a very strong Iraqi community, about 35,000.
There's actually quite a lot in the UK, people don't know. I'm not joking. My kebab shop guy used to be from Iraq.
Yeah. I mean, like there's 35,000 Iraqi people. I live not a million miles from a mosque. And, so like I say, I've talked to Iraqis about it, and it is a truism to say there has never been a more profound recruiting tool for extremism than American foreign policy. Yeah. Because those sanctions that we did in Iraq, which particularly came out, there was I always get it mixed up, but there was an instance where the chemical plant was a place called Al Haykum, and this was a big sticking block. They tried to link it to anthrax and all sorts of chemical weapons capability, and as a result, off the back of that, they issued sanctions that would stop things like fluoride. So the sanctions that got put on the region were estimated to be killing 3,000 vulnerable Iraqis every month. 3,000 elderly people who now don't have access to clean drinking water or sterilized drinking water, didn't have access to medications anymore that they couldn't get anymore because international supply lines were shut down because of the chemical constituents of that medicine. Children dying because they can't get essential childhood medications for treatable diseases. That was the very real aftermath of sanctions against Iraq because we wanted to shut down Saddam Hussein. So you have to understand, if I am a little bit resistant to this, it's because I remember history. I'm not just some Twitter cretin that can only remember 6 months back. So, yeah, I've got apprehensions, but okay. I also don't like war. I don't like innocent people being killed. I don't like sovereign nations being invaded by aggressive forces. Won't get into the whole, it's nice when America cares about that. So anyway, what then do we say, with all of that said, about a North American organization giving $1 million indirectly to those same people we have been trying to economically starve? Why are we turning a blind eye to that? Why is nobody critical of that, by the way? Not one person.
Especially because, to me, this is also where the initial premise never was true. So the reason why, because if everyone remembers, because the first people to ever even intimate this was Blast, when Blast did their announcement saying that they wouldn't invite Gambit and VP or whatever to the next Blast or whatever, when they said that, right, if you remember, because they weren't actually sort of specific enough, people worried, like, oh shit, they just banned all Russians completely. Like, have they essentially banned, like, Jim from competing? And it turned out, no, they're only banning the org. And you know what? They're not even banning them, Richard. Like, the player can play, just can't have the jersey on. Yep. But essentially, if it turns out you can't let the player like get a salary from the Russian org, but he also can't ever be sold, because that logically, like you're saying, it would provide money to the org. What you were doing was banning them from esports. So we are just punishing the individual people then. We are punishing the pro players in Counterstrike. Absolutely, we are. Effectively, that's what we're doing. Even though, as we say it, they're not actually going to do it. Like, they're not going to carry this through. And again, by the way, Cloud9's an enormous American org. That wouldn't even enter people's brain because it's American.
No, and it's so I'll talk a little bit about the fuckery that went on as well.
Just so that people are clear as well, by the way, this isn't actually criticism of Cloud9 the org. I hope people get that. We're talking about the principle at play here, and that the fact that essentially we're just doing something silly a month later and pretending the last 2 months didn't happen.
Yeah. So right, and also I remember I told you on the esports gospel. I think I even said it on episodes by the numbers. I told you Gambit are looking to offload all their players. A Russian player is no longer an asset right now.
Yes.
And they will only depreciate in value the longer you leave it.
Yes.
So the fact that they have used a third party to acquire any money for this acquisition, when of course what we all know is the ethical thing to do by the standards we have agreed upon in esports was you had to let their contracts run out and then acquire them as free agents. Yep. That was the only ethical way to negotiate it without contradicting previous ethical stances. But so anyway, what ended up happening was when Gambit were looking to essentially offload all the Russian players, and I think, by the way, I think this is a bit broader part of an exit strategy for Gambit. I think they're looking to offload their squads where possible and then shutter the org.
Makes sense.
Even temporarily. That's what I've been told behind the scenes. So let me just tell you a little bit about this, right? So there's this entity called the Ulti Agency, right? And they are exactly what they say they are. They are they're an agency that represent, talent in the scene. And basically, here's what went down, right? So Gambit want rid of their players. Cloud9, by the way, they've took a long, hard look at Gambit players. And I didn't think they'd bite the bullet on it just because of the optics. But Jack loves that Groove guy so much, so impressed with his mind for the game and as a figure and his understanding of business, that Jack really wanted him in the Cloud9 org. And so you end up with a Norwegian agency that know that Cloud9 want to buy Gambit and Gambit want to sell their Russian players to the highest bidder, which, as it turns out, would be Cloud9 because they have the most spending power at the moment. And so the Ulti agency acted as a third party to quietly acquire the roster from Gambit, right? We don't know the details of that acquisition or, again, how much money was paid. But I've heard the $1 million amount, which obviously is coming from Cloud9, but temporarily in the first instance, obviously is fronted in principle by the Ulti agency. And then that's when Cloud9 are going to come in and go, oh, bloody hell, are they on the Ulti agency, a Norwegian entity? Well, it's totally fine for us to give them money because Norwegians haven't done anything. So the first part was done quietly behind the scenes to give Cloud9 this layer of abstraction because there is an ethical principle that's essentially been violated here. And again, not one I necessarily agree with. I don't want the Gambit players to have their fucking careers destroyed.
No, of course not.
They've condemned the war. They've condemned Putin. These are traveled people who are members of the international community. I'm sure they are appalled by what's been happening. The Gambit org has essentially said as much, including the Valorant team, Valorant coaches, figureheads, and the org is still going to shut it as a result of this. I want these young players to be able to realize their full potential. So don't think what I'm saying is like some sort of like these players. No, what I'm trying to frame is we keep creating parameters without fully thinking about what they mean in esports. Like every day in esports, we're setting a new precedent, and the new precedent might be one that actually will stand the test of time and make sense. Some of these ones we've set here, you end up in ridiculous situations like this, where essentially we were condemning the Gambit players to have their contracts run out. But I will absolutely say it, as things stand, I don't think Cloud9 should be allowed to rock up and sell stickers and basically recoup the $1 million they've just paid to Russian oligarchs to have these players. And again, you can go, they paid the Norwegian agency. We all know where the money went. So either giving those entities money is bad or it isn't. You decide. But if it's bad, that means you can't then buy the players out of the contracts. So for me, and you'll notice this won't happen.
Oh, no chance.
For me, I don't know why not one single fan brought that point. Well, I do. Everyone, let's go. Let's all buy the polo shirts. Yeah, woo, Cloud9 back in the game. Brilliant, fantastic, guys. Nice moral consistency. But, for me, Cloud9 should have to come out and specifically address why it's okay for them to do it. Simple as that.
If you're going to be consistent, yeah. Like I'm with you as well. I personally wouldn't have done most of these sanctions. In fact, I even thought that was, and like I said to you, bear in mind, I already knew there was a world where visas might fuck these guys anyway. They might eventually not even be allowed to leave their country.
ESL set the standard on how to deal with it. It was just massively unfortunate. It was the most hypocritical entity.
Yeah, of course. The big problem I have as well is this. This is where you realize again, it's like if you people like me and you, what makes, I hate to invoke the fucking word because normally it's just used by purple-haired morons who've never got off the couch. But when you say it's exhausting, this conversation, obviously normally I would admit, I know exactly. Normally I think that is nonsense. But one thing that is exhausting in esports is having good faith discussions with people about principles. And then a month later realizing, so you never even represented that. You were just doing that for optics. And they're like, well, yeah, of course, we're all just doing it for optics. Like, what?
Yeah.
So you mean all these panels were fake? It's all just nonsense. And it is. So this is the curse of optics, guys. Because right now there's a perfect analogy going on with the greater international community's reaction to the conflict in Ukraine, which goes like this. So remember how really early, guys, they all put their big dick on the table and promised they were going to stop all that gas requirements and they weren't going to buy gas from Russia. So Russia couldn't be funded. But then every single month that went by, more stories came out that were like, well, maybe they're not quite totally doing it though. Or, yeah, we're going to do it, but it doesn't kick in yet. Or, well, it's these initial companies, but then this one company, they forgot to put this company. Oh, yeah, the banks. Oh, well, it's actually just these two banks, not the A bank. Well, what you eventually find is like, this is so that you can, on one hand, appear virtuous and moral, but still do all the same business and not have to face any downside. Because if people haven't noticed, what they're almost certainly going to do, except for the countries that are just overtly paying the money in rubles, is the rest of them, it's already out there. They're going to just get like a third party, might be some country like, I don't know, fucking Turkey or something. Some country that feels like it could play, Syria is obviously a classic one. Some country that could play a middleman will just buy the gas from Russia, and then everyone will be Cloud9 in the scenario. They'll go, well, I'm not buying it from Russia, of course. I'm just buying the reserves of this country. Pay them off. And then the real question is, at the end, what did you accomplish? Nothing. You did the same business deal, but you got to pretend you represent the opposite of what you actually represent. This is all nonsense, boys. And the reason why in esports it's so tiresome we're doing that is because we don't have to have politics in our game. We don't have to have these things. We only need them when it's our choice. So what's great is we could choose the best fights to take up, and we could take them up in the most virtuous way. And we don't even have to apply silly things they do elsewhere in the world. We could do our way around it. Like, for example, what ESL was in theory trying to do, we could make like the more humanitarian approach to how to put these sanctions on them without punishing. But as you say, if you've chosen to go down this path and you've even vilified people along the way, how can you at the end turn around and go, well, I guess this one org's allowed to benefit massively from it, and in doing so help Russians benefit?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, look, we can talk about the merits of the move without getting into all of the noise. Like for me, I just think it's like we put those players in an impossible position because we should be saying you can't buy them out of their contracts because you're giving money to the bad guys. But we've decided we're not going to be consistent in that. It's just if you do anything that makes money for the bad guys directly, then you're bad. In which case, by the way, spoiler, the players would have been bad as well. It's just ridiculous. But look, to talk about and also, by the way, behind the scenes, I do know that there are a few other owners who are in these partnered leagues aren't particularly pleased. So
I can imagine, yeah.
So watch this space, because the thing I'm talking about, which all the fans
the Navi ones seem like an obvious gang that might have it up their backs, mate. It just seems obvious.
So at the end of the day, like, I know all the fans are going to come out and go, wow, it's a bit of a tenuous leap. If it's a tenuous leap, it's one many people, actual industry people, are making. So, but anyway, let's talk about the pickup on its merits. And like, listen, what a great way for Cloud9 to come back, instant top three in the world. And also, look, I mean, I think the Gambit roster was a little bit diminished anyway. It was struggling under the spotlight a little bit as we moved into the start of the year. But I'll say I think now that they're free and clear of that whole Gambit, are you players? Can you go to these events? Can you not go to these events? And during Cloud9, this is finally how they get to go over with the community, because as I've said before, for reasons I can't quite understand, those, even though they're just young, cool guys trying to play good, and they play great CS, they never went over with the community. They were never beloved by the community. There was that unbelievable. Well, now the Cloud9 fans will follow you off a fucking cliff. Yep, absolutely. So at the end, and finally as well, that there's a new dimension to the Na'Vi, the Na'Vi Gambit rivalry, which, by the way, spoiler, I don't mean the war, obviously. I'm talking about that now that Cloud9, a big org, has picked it up from a different region. North American fans, a Ukrainian org based in Kiev, and obviously two teams that know each other and pre-conflict had a wonderful rivalry, one which Blade credited Gambit for making Na'Vi the team they went on to become when they won the major. It's a nice little interesting addition to the international mix in Counterstrike.
I think it's a slam dunk move all around. Like, if you're those players, there's no better org that could pick you up and get you out of this shitstorm that you're in. And also, by the way, they are an org that I've heard goes above and beyond for players to like get you the visas and help you and all that shit. They seem to be one of the best in that regard. Then secondly, if you're Cloud9, like you're saying, what entire lineup could you buy? By the way, for that price point, you're not going to get anyone. You're never going to get a top 5 team ever in CSGO for $1 million, unless we're talking about 5 years from now when the game's tanked completely. Like, that is outrageous money. Like, off the top of my head, Richard, I think even when bloody like FaZe bought G2, wasn't that like 750 or 800? Like, and that was in like 2015 or something mental, mate. Like, I don't think people realize this is a steal. So if I'm Cloud9, I think it's a great move. I even like the fact that I was even saying this to Jack when he was talking to me about the move. I was saying to him, first of all, like, the best thing about this team is don't worry that like they've missed their window. Like, the joke is people only did that to them because they were too good online. I said they're actually that made it, unfortunately, that actually set them up for a failure where they never could succeed because they had to be number one. Even being top 4 at the major wasn't enough. That really wasn't. So I said it's actually the other way around. They haven't had their window yet. They actually had, if anything, the great thing about that team is you don't make a roster move, but you could keep the whole lineup the same, and it could in 6 months and 3 months be even better. It could be twice as good. Like, people get comfortable online. By the way, this will be another mate. This will be the second major under their belt already. This could actually be the best time to own this team. I mean, remember, real land Counterstrike is Counterstrike. The online tournaments, there's a reason people don't call it the Gambit era. So to me, it's a brilliant pickup on both sides. And I do think, like I say, I don't think you have to do anything with this team. I also think, as an aside, I agree with the premise of what Jack's trying to do, because here's the thing. I know from games like League of Legends, he understands the value of like coaches and figures who can sort of stay beyond the players, as it were. Like, you can put people in and out. So if you've heard the story, not only that Groove was involved with helping this squad and was even coaching them, but if you know the story in League of Legends, people have to remember Jack started in League of Legends, and when he started in League of Legends was the year after Moscow 5, which used to be Groove's old team, was the best team in the world in League of Legends. They were even better than the Korean teams. So I know that when he found out, wait a minute, the guy who was that coach on the league team was doing that in league, and then 10 years later he's in it. Like, that's a slam dunk guy you pick up for your org. And I'll even add this in as well. Groove is actually incredibly unique. Go and look this up. I don't believe he has social media. He doesn't have a Twitter account, as far as I can tell. So one of the things I think is also amazing that you will never get with almost any other coach, maybe Blade would be the only one. He's one of the only CIS figures who's never going to be involved in drama. He's never going to say some stupid shit. He's just going to do his job, clock in. By the way, it seems like a brilliant guy, has a mega work ethic. He's one of those guys, by the way, where he's never, ever gotten mad at me, even if I disliked Gambit or made a joke or said some play. Never, ever. So it also seems like one of the, like, again, like I say, a slam dunk person to hire in your org. That could be, if you're a C9 fan. Forget just this lineup. This lineup, who knows how it'll do. But this could actually be like 5 years of great Counterstrike if you have like a proper structure in place and someone who can re-up, get your new players in. Because I've often told this story, and by the way, I get the sense Jack gets the point. The reason why I told that story, that in 2017, I could actually have gotten Hunden and Valde into Cloud9 is because I told Jack a similar thing. I told him, the reason you bring Hunden in is, initially you'll use him as the IGL, but the dream eventually is he's just the scout that brings you a pipeline of Danish talent to your org. Well, guess what they could do now? Groove could just bring you all the next fucking Monacies over, and guess what? They won't be in any position to join any other team. They could just come to your team. You could have the next 5 years of an elite level Counter-Strike team. So I think it's a slam dunk. I think it's a mega move. Like you say, it's only the sort of silly external meta contextual things that sort of sour it a little bit.
Yeah, and you know, at the end of the day, I'm still a little bit perplexed as to why you would completely shutter operations, say there's just no financial opportunities for us in this space, and you know, Cloud9, it's like sad, but yeah, we're gonna have to walk away from, and like you just come back. It's like, was it really that fucking, was what was happening with Henry's lineup, was it really that terrible? Like, because you didn't get out of groups of Pro League, you had to fucking kill it stone dead?
It does make it feel a little bit like, how cynical had they become about CSGO? Because remember, by the way, they essentially let Flashpoint die, which they'd invested money in themselves.
Yeah.
So, because if people don't know, they were some of the sort of head people pushing that project forwards. So to me, the idea that you leave, like, this just does make it look like I was only going to come back in if someone dropped in my lap a ready-made team that I have to do nothing with.
Well, not just that, though. Think about it. As I said, the move itself, like, I mean, in terms of what you're going to get in merchandising, sticker sales, all this other stuff ahead of the major, again, it probably is me being a bit fucking overcritical because I've just given up on you know, ever assuming good motives from anyone in this business, but it does feel like it's a little bit of a cynical move because you got not.
I think
only,
it's like you're getting a free roll with them because you just get the team and it sort of pays.
You get the
itself.
team. They're gonna finish top 8 at the major, right? So Cloud9 are back, maybe, I guess, and then it's like you essentially are just picking up a team that's really good with the upside of massive potential that hasn't been realized yet, as good as they were in the online era, and on top of that, you get, all of the benefits of there's a major literally happening right now that they're at. So Cloud9 get all of that attention. Probably already sold sponsorship against it, plus the merchandise sales. I mean, I'm not saying merchandise is a huge revenue stream for most esports orgs, but for Cloud9, it's definitely a significant one.
I mean, theirs is because people were even immediately saying, like, will you make one of those Letterman jackets? And everyone was fucking loving it. They probably even do make a little pop-up that they make that custom jacket.
It's sort of like when, it reminds me a little bit of when the Raiders signed fucking Beast Mode. And we were, of course, getting leased mode, but but it was a top 3 jersey sale.
Oh, exactly. It's a slam dunk then,
yeah, in the league overall. So I think it was. So it's like obviously you take him on for a season, and he's only getting an average of 2 yards, 3 yards. No, not even 3. A carry, but and he's a diminished player, but he's from the area. He's a good cultural fit. And still a massive name. So, we take them on for a season, and it's kind of like, it's not that cynical because these guys obviously have potential. I'm talking about getting a player at the end, but everything does just fall into your lap if you're Cloud9. You've got the team, you've got the guaranteed finish barring a disaster, you've got the revenue from the merch, you've got the stickers in the game, you got the fact that even people aren't, because you're Cloud9 and American exceptionalism is real, you're just even not going to have to negotiate any of the murky ethical stuff. You just get to do what you want. So
it even seems, if you've noticed as well, like one of the only orgs that hasn't had even tangential drama about what any of the Russian players or their families might. Seems like the only one that hasn't actually had any of that leak out, even. So it's even the one to sign, isn't it?
I mean, when you consider the other ones, G2,
half the problem with the other oons is you're just waiting for one of them to say the wrong bloody thing on social media and blow the whole thing up, aren't you?
Yeah. Which again, by the way, I mean, obviously, like I said, Cloud9's a good spot to be in for that because they do handle their business on social media. Yes. So look, it sounds like I'm down on the move. It's a really good move for Cloud9. It's a really good move for these players. It's really good to have Cloud9 back in CSGO, obviously. I am just a bitter curmudgeon, and I will always find the piss in the swimming pool, basically. That's just who I am. So, right, let's talk about, because we didn't even do the roundup for the RMRs, which we did finally complete in between episodes of the show. We had the second European RMR. I'm just going to bring that up now. And of course, obviously, the event itself is only just round the fucking corner, which is crazy how quickly it's crept up. We'll talk. I mean, this one, the secondary European RMR, it didn't throw up as many surprises. It was
a way weaker field, though.
Yes, exactly. Which is fine. Obviously, you knew RMRB. But I guess we'll start with as we always do it. One of the surprises for me was Entropic doing as poorly as they did. I thought Entropic, obviously previous major, they were another one of those teams that were on the cusp, but they lost games I would not have backed them to lose. They lost to the Bad News Eagles in a best of one first game, lost to Anonymous, they lost 2-0 to that Heat team, which I know everyone was like pushing that Heat team as if they're going to be like one of the next big ones, but still kind of feel I still feel that like there's work to be done there as well. So this was a real surprise to me that Entropic did as bad as what they did when you consider what we've seen out of them before and how they were like, borderline top 10, 12th in the world. Obviously got Elian, this incredible talent. Because they're Czech based, aren't going to be held up with any of the nonsense and the restrictions. Hooch, experienced coach in there. So much to like about the team, and they absolutely fucking flopped here.
And the worst thing is, not only because they were in the weaker RMR, But even in the weaker RMR, if you see the teams these guys lost to, there's no excuse. There's no excuse possible. They didn't lose to big names. They didn't even lose to the borderline people. Like, spoiler, the people who beat them weren't making the bloody major by and large. Like, no. That's why it's so depressing. And in general, by the way, since he's the big name, I've got to say, actually, Elian underperformed in this tournament. He didn't turn up. If he turns up, they probably win these games.
Yeah. Well, the margins were so thin, like in these best of ones. You know, you're right. A star performance gets you over the line.
Absolutely.
You know, because like I said, 19-17 against Bad News Eagles, 16-14 against Anonymous. You know, it's like, you're absolutely right. You know, star players have got to turn up in these games, and we apply that logic to everyone. I guess we'll talk a little bit about Astralis. What would it be if we didn't? Bit up and down this one.
They tried their absolute best not to qualify this time, if people didn't see.
Yeah, well, so look, the one that made me think they were going to qualify easily was I streamed the best of one between them and Ents, and I was like, Ents are an upset team. And actually, I think it was 13-2 at one point, and it was just like Ents just didn't show up, and then they slowly started creeping back into the game, and eventually Astralis got over the line. So it wasn't like vintage, it wasn't like compelling, but you're like, well, they just, you know, they've now got all these chances, but they lost players, which that's not really a surprise, I suppose.
The Gambit team, in case people don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because the fucking stupid name that was players. So they lost to the Russian dudes.
Totally respectable to lose.
Yeah, totally respectable. Yeah. Took a map, you know, whatever. Then you get G2. Bit unlucky with that. That was
even so though. That's one moment I'll push back a little bit, because here's my problem. G2 have given a lot of wins away recently. Here's my problem with Astralis. This is one of the reasons why I have an issue with this squad, mate. It's so hard work for these guys to win a bloody best of three against anyone. Dude, they play bad teams and go 3 maps and overtimes and barely win third. Here's the problem they have. I want fans to think about this. If your team's actually really good, like, I'll give you even a comparison. I actually consider a team like Ents to be much better than Astralis. If Ents plays against G2, I won't just go, well, they played G2, it's lost already. I'll go, hey, they might be with a chance. Yeah. You know what? If you're Astralis, you actually do just look at this and go, anyone above you'll definitely lose to. Maybe you could beat this team around that level. Like, this shows how far these guys have fallen, mate. Like, we don't even have expectations from now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. You're right. If you rewind not that long in the past, and even with the tail end of the old lineup, you know, an Astralis was in every game.
You got to at least give them, some respect and think, hey, they could do it. They could pull it out. You know, they could roll back the clock, all that shit.
I mean, here was the good aspect to it. Even when they lost that G2 game, and in the one they did win, which was the fucking real crazy one, because they dropped a map to Heat, that French lineup, and suddenly they are one map from not being.
There were a couple of rounds, as far as I remember. It was like 13 something or other. Yeah.
Well, Ancient was 16-14. Yeah. So, like, listen, here was the good news if you're an Astralis fan. Like Farlig. I never want to hear about Lucky again, by the way.
Exactly, I know.
Shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
Farlig was available. You could have had him all this time. Who knows?
He should have been in this team for 6 months by now. Exactly. So get his legs under him,
Right, but he had 2 best of 3s where it was him and Config basically like top fragging, which, by the way, if you know what Astralis has been, it has been Blame F fragging, but yes, questionable impact on the frags, because some of it is like lurk frags.
Yeah.
Some of it are the bait trades. I get it. Config obviously popping off, one of the best players in the world. That's his skill ceiling. That's his level. You expect that. But the Farlig has been, you know, he's been bedding into a new team, so you give him the benefit of the doubt. And basically, those 3 guys now have to drag Zipnix and Glaive across the line. That's where we're at. That's what the team has to do. And personally, I feel that the drag factor of those 2 might be too much for Astralis to ever be a top-tier team. And that's why you're struggling in best of 3s against Heat, a team that, you know, previous iterations, if you'd even dropped a map against these, you would have been embarrassed. So, yeah, it's a tough one. Astralis did give it their best try to throw, essentially, like, and just not be at the major, which would have been an absolute disaster.
Here's the wild thing, though, dude. I actually think, no joke, I think it would have been better for them if they lost that exact match.
I saw the same comment on Reddit today, and I thought, you know what? it is nice to see something that's a little bit thought out because, they were saying the problem you've got now is if they go to the major and have a respectable finish, we probably carry Zipniks forward for another
you give yourself
months.
False hope. You just think it could work still. Whereas I feel like it would be such a slap in the face to fail, and especially in that group, like the easier of the ones of the two RMRs. I feel like if you fail, and not only that, you're not losing the G2, you're losing the bloody heat, you're losing the bit like fucking body and people like who haven't been relevant for years. I feel like that might actually finally, just because even optics would be terrible, surely you have to do something. Like at that point in time, for my money, you have to either keep Zipniks or you have to bring in a big name or you have to do something to reinvigorate the team, don't you? Whereas I feel like they've sort of escaped that fucking, not for long. Listen, the fucking execution is sharp in his axe, boys. This lineup is not going to last forever, but they've bought themselves a couple of months for sure.
Yeah, and look, I'm feeling really good about what we said with the Valde issue. I feel if OG continue on the trajectory they're on and Astralis continue on the trajectory they're on, I think Valde comes in for Zipniks, and I can't really think of a better replacement with role overlap and systems. And I think, you know what? If that move were to happen, I think Astralis can get back to challenging for trophies.
That would make me interested, put it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll give you an example. If Valde joins, all the people who've had to build this fucking insane narrative in their mind that I hate Astralis and all the players will then have to go through the cognitive dissonance and be like, but I started saying they are good now. I guess now he just sucks their dick for money. Like they'll have to be that space again, like they were before I supposedly hated Astralis. Magically, exactly when their org did all the scummy shit repeatedly and then lied a million times in a row. It's almost like there's a reason to hate them, but let's just put that to one side, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, also, but in general, Farlig is an obvious upgrade. There was never going to be any downside to that. And in the games he's got being good, finally they have a bit of firepower.
You didn't need a mega AWP.
No, exactly.
What was holding them back was that, like, Lucky was so bad at AWPing, they stopped him from AWPing.
Yes.
Like, so for me, the next component is because they've got Trace is going to be in, right? As their
that's right, because obviously Abe's banned.
Yeah. Yes. So listen, personally, I don't know too much about how they work behind the scenes or whatever. I just think keep Trace. I would certainly think he's a better coach than Abe. And let's just see if let's get Zipniks out of his team. Valde or someone equivalent that can play those roles in, could be a Copenhagen Flames player, whatever you want. Get them in, get Zipniks out, keep your coach, keep your consistency, and let's see if Glaive can rebuild a championship winning team again.
Here's the gangster move. Are you ready for a move that way? This is purely in the brand of by the numbers. Here's what you do if you're Nicola Nihon. You go to Zipniks and you go, mate, something's going wrong with you. I think you need a few months off for burnout. Then you put him on the bench. Perfect move already in it. Because by the way, how can he even come out against you on that? That's his whole shit, was that you needed time off. Yeah. You give him the time off. And then obviously, because my point is you don't just want to tank the whole deal. You just use him for marketing. You have him at that Nexus thing, meeting all the kids. You have him come along. You claim, he could come back in the lineup in the future or whatever. Obviously, it goes out saying, unless he does some amazing shit in script, you never bring him back ever again. You just slowly phase him out. The joke is that would be the best way to do it. And by the way, sadly, I imagine they're also fucked in Astralis because they all get paid. They all do just sleep like a baby and forget all the drama. But that would even be a great way to stick it to him for fucking with that CSPPA thing a few years ago. Yeah. It'd be pretty gangster. All I'm saying, Liam. That's all I'm saying, mate.
Yeah, listen, and I know he's a big fan and I know he watches the show.
He probably does. That's the maddest part, I know.
But anyway,
he's sipping a fucking Merlot as we speak, figuring out now he's probably
got him more down as a cognac kind of guy. But
there's definitely some villain vibes.
Having a swirl,
exactly. It's definitely about assessing his fate in the swirling of the liquid. Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk about the one that really wrecked us. That aged well.
Come on.
The classic because when we did pop Flashpoint. Flashing the pops and the points when we did that.
Oh, I know what you mean already. Yeah.
Okay, we said we weren't really sold on Copenhagen Flames. We didn't think they were going to do that much, and that they were a team in decline. And then,
weirdly, wasn't a lot of backlash at the time. You know, didn't really see anyone disagree with us. It's weird.
Hindsight's always good when you want to say whether or not a take, which by the way they are not takes, I know. They are informed opinions, age well or not well. Almost as if time is linear, but we'll get there eventually, fans. We will get there. So listen, all I'm going to say is in that, right? So in that episode of That Age Well, starring Semler, Thorin, and Richard, what we said was we didn't think they were going to do too well at Blast Premier Spring Showdown. We actually weren't talking about the European.
That's true. Yeah.
And that was specifically tailored to the teams there and the format there.
And they played heroic in that match as well. Right. I think
it was Ents.
Ents. Sorry, the team obviously should beat them. Yeah.
So here you go. They had a best of one against Sprout. I would never say Copenhagen.
Nobody's at this point in time, by the way.
They had a best of one against Sinners. I would never say they would do that. The one that surprised me was to qualify for the major as the number one team in the RMR, which, by the way, those are two very soft opponents in a best of one.
Oh, absolutely,
if you're Copenhagen Flames, was NIP. And they won an overtime map and then beat NIP on Overpass, which seems to be a decent map for Copenhagen Flames. Now, all I'm saying is that's deceptive.
Yeah, exactly.
That is one best of three, essentially, they won to go to the major. And crucially, that is, well, I said they wouldn't beat Ents, and I said they're just going to go out fucking, 5th to 8th at Blast Premier Spring. That's just happened.
By the way, that is actually amazing, though, that they've taken a take about a different tournament with a set bracket and applied it to another tournament, unrelated, with a randomized Swiss. Well, it's not totally randomized, it sounds like Pgl, but like a randomized Swiss bracket with different teams.
Yes.
It's like basically, if we did our preview for the major, we were like, look, at this major, Copenhagen Flames going to do nothing. Then the next week they play Snow, Sweet Snow and win it. And you were like, I thought you said they were going to do nothing. It's like, I mean, I guess if you take what they've done. Basically, you guys win again, Reddit, because you know what? It's like I always say, all you have to do is take all the context.
To be fair, these were YouTube comments.
Oh, fair enough. Almost as bad. But all you have to do is take all the context to what I mean out, and then I look like an idiot, don't I? Yeah. It's weird how that works, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'll read you some of the comments.
Because if people don't know, I'll even give you an example of why those two wins, the BO1s, are so soft. By the way, first of all, they're still fucking BO1s as well. Because Sprout, I'm not even joking. I doubt people who watch this show can even name the 5 players. Yeah. Sinners, they're going to immediately go, oh, love Oscar. He ain't even in the team anymore. So there you go. The first 2 teams, you wouldn't even know the 5 players. So that's case closed on that one. And then I'll even throw this in there, even though I do think NIP genuinely performs way above expectations. Look, if I had to pick the one of the big names, Richard, that might drop a game to me, they're still a team with a bloody standard. They're still the team without device. They're still a team that on paper are supposed to occasionally lose. If anything, it's just amazing they bloody almost never do.
So here you go. I'm just going to scroll through and read you the comments. So Pop Flash, Trash Talk, Copenhagen Flames, last games, 25 games, 3 loss. And they are in legend stage for second time. Now, obviously, that
I stood it after the fact.
Yes. Yeah, because time linear. But so, first of all, the 25 games, 3 losses includes those best of ones now that I'm talking about because he's going after the fact. But we also addressed that they had a good record in the podcast. And I said it's deceptive because if you look at the teams they've lost to, like they lost to that EC Kiev team or whatever the fuck. We specifically addressed that on the show, which, of course, you don't even watch the show, do you? You just hear names. Let me do another one. Where is it? Awkward when Cop Flames go 3-0 and get legends. Shame we didn't talk about the major. We talked about a completely separate tournament indeed. What else? This was kind of funny. This is irrelevant. RL might have some truth in some of his points about Astralis and Casper Fit, but he steps far into areas he is fairly clueless about. It's almost like the entire team and staff shit on his front door. It's super biased and as such completely unreliable journalism.
Mate, that's one thing that I find mental. Here's another phenomenon I've observed.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of this person.
You must be biased.
It then emerges, though, right, that they aren't even enough of a fan to really know that person's career. And so what they then do is go like, I've had real tweets at this, Richard, like, so why do you hate Astralis then? What have they ever done to you?
Used to be called an Astralis fanboy. Yeah,
is that a joke? What have they ever done to me?
Like a year.
I know, it's mental. But think how bad this is.
Yeah, what have they done to you? Yeah.
Attempted to fuck with my livelihood repeatedly, tried to have my friend fired from his job in America.
Had you effectively removed from Blast.
Lied about tons and tons of things I've said. Openly, by the way, even did things that would potentially be defamatory if you look at Nickel and IHOB and things. He's like, mate, the joke is you're the pleb who's not following the scene. So why are you commenting is the real question. I don't know what you would have to say about it. Like, it's none of your fucking business. And then also, like, another thing I've got to add in that regard is, you know, when they do that thing where they're sort of like, Here's the best example ever. Say I tweeted now about Premiership football so that people know I don't follow super closely, right? There'd be a guy who'd go, stay in your bloody lane. You don't know anything about it. That's esports for me then. I'm a fucking 20-year world veteran in esports. So don't ever comment to me ever about esports or in any of my videos because you're not an expert. So you have no position to do that from. I hate that one as well.
They never hold the logic up, do they?
They never
do. It's like, he doesn't even have the expertise to criticize the players. Well, what's your expertise to criticize my expertise? Let's do it. Let's do the expertise spiral. There was this Copenhagen Flames make legend stage. Pretty good. Get that Stixker money and have hope. Right?
When they're stupid opinions, the typos make them better.
No, I love it.
I know. It makes it better.
The CPH take by RL, aged like spoiled milk. Then what did he? Then somebody said, "What do you mean? They just beat NIP, who are changing rosters around." Someone said, "Let's wait until Major." That is true, but RL said they are not a real team. Come on.
By the way, my favourite take of all time, not least because I know it just trigger the fuck out of you, is that one where people go, why do you have to have such a hot take? Just wait until we know what happens with them. It's like, oh, fucking hell, please. You've got to stop doing this to me, guys, please. I can't wait. I can't just wait 6 months to do a video. Navi are the number one team. They've won all these tournaments. Who watched that video?
It's the best one. I've saved the best till last. And then we'll move on to laugh at EG. There goes the discussion on Copenhagen Flames, lol, to which someone called Mr. Kalashnikov
come on,
replies, indeed, it didn't age very well. They beat the best version of NIP 2-0. I think they have a potential of a good run this major. To which I said, how is this the best version of NIP? Because obviously this isn't even the one NIP.
I know, exactly.
Of NIP.
Hitcham Shaheen disagrees with you.
Exactly.
Enough said.
To which he replied, with their current lineup, on paper, this is the best that they have had in quite some time. So it's better without device, according to Mr. Kalashnikov.
That's a bold take itself. I believe that take might age poorly, believe it or not, Richard.
Yeah. and then he said, what I love to see is Copenhagen Flames shut down the haters and critics and you guys.
I can't remember everything we said, but I don't think we're even particularly hateful about them. Didn't we just sort of say they're not that good?
Well, this is it.
Isn't that it?
You really flamed them. Nothing but a fluke team. Their window is gone. What does this say about Nip now? Says they lost the single best of 3 of them. That's
should probably get device back.
Yeah.
That's the conclusion I take.
Why would they? Best version, Mr. Kalashnikov, CS expert there. So anyway, okay, let's move on to the next time.
Weekly segment, laughing at EG.
Yeah, with the new weekly segment. When will EG stop the pain? Right? In a new weekly segment of Stewie, you've gone done, lost your mind. Anyway, so look, why are we bringing this up again? It's got very real ramifications for the future of the org, in my opinion, and the direction they go in. Because, listen, right, you finish rock bottom at ESL Pro League without getting a single win, and that is the 3rd time you were finished rock bottom in ESL Pro League. Your status in ESL Pro League was up for being debated as a result of that. Now, you're going to go, Richard, that's ancient history. That was the start of April this month. So then you've got the Americas RMR. Well, you've got that one in the bag. EG, you go into the major. Wrong. You're going to fucking drop maps to Party Astronauts, lose to Pain Gaming and 9Z, the titans of the scene. So you don't even get to go to the major. Well, listen, all right. At least Intel Extreme Masters Dallas is round the corner, right? Because then, that's an American qualifier. There's no way the Lightning can strike twice. Wrong. EG go there. They lose to Liquid again. By the way, EG and Liquid, it's just not even close at the moment. Like the disparity. Stu must be going out of his mind having to eat that plate of shit.
Absolutely.
Served up to him, right? They dropped a map, by the way, to a team called fucking Carpe Diem, right? Who has Hexed and Clazier, who I remember casting one of their games. They were on like some mad underdog team that had like got into the North American RMR. Me, Harry, and Hugh.
Right.
So it's like, I can't remember what the team used to be called, but it was like RNG maybe. But anyway, whatever. So they dropped a map to these guys. These guys have no international experience outside of that North American RMR that they competed in. They're a very young team, very young set of players, and they took a map off EG. Then, all right, Godsent, you're going to beat Godsent, are you? Godsent fucking humiliated them. Like, put it in context, Godsent beat them on Overpass, EG's map pick, 16-6. Then go to Vertigo, a map that's close because it's fucking shit, and it's just take the A-bomb site over and over again on T side. Godsent 16-12 is a gulf on that map. And so, and again, Stewie, bottom fragging, terrible stat line. His rating for that series, by the way, 0.54.
There you go. Like, we're talking like all career worst like level shit here.
Oh, yeah, it's sad at this stage, bro. It's fucking sad. And as we're recording this, just lost a map to Godsent again in the Blast Premier Spring Show.
Never ends.
So here's the problem, right? Yanko did a tweet earlier saying, "Why am I not the major?" No, he did a tweet earlier, right? He was saying, like, this is how bad things have got. So let me read it to you. I'll just bring it up. It was his last tweet. He said, the Blast Showdown, which, by the way, is a qualifier for Blast for realsies. Blast Showdown is EG's last chance to qualify for a Tier 1 tournament before the player break, and it is only April. They didn't qualify for the major, they didn't qualify for IEM Dallas, and they cannot earn any more points between now and IEM Cologne, and he says, unless they get an automatic invite as a partnered team. So, like, this...
the year's almost written off, feels like.
It's over. Like, it's April. And people don't understand how bad, how catastrophic this has been for EG. Like, this has been an absolutely fucking shocking pickup. This has been one of the biggest failures I have seen as a team. And mate, it's not getting better. It's getting worse. And so with Cloud9 coming back to the space, sure, we're Russian players, but that's not going to be an issue. They're going to be a North American org. They'll have to fly the North American flag at all the events. So
I've got a couple of stats for you here. I've just looked it up now.
Hit me.
So this is just EG lineup in 2022. In 2022, this is all on HLTV.org. Yeah. They've played 43 maps. Yeah. They've won 16 of them.
Not very good, is it?
It's pretty bad. Then they've got over 200 something extra deaths than kills as a team. Mm-hmm. Like, boys. And by the way, as a team, their rating is 0.93. Remember, this is on paper like all vetted players.
I know.
These are like some of the best players ever from any, even a couple of years ago, even a year or two ago, some of these very good players. Like, it almost couldn't go worse. Like you're saying, you're setting up basically, this is the worst case scenario. What we're actually finding out with this EG lineup is what happens when you take big money, a big org, and a partner team status, and you put a team that cannot play top Counterstrike in there. You're going to find out how we're sort of almost like, you know, like when they do that thing in surgery where they send something around your body to like track like a part of a vein. So that's like what we're doing with the ecosystem. Yep. We're tracking what happens when a team that should not be in that position plays and just cannot win games. Because here's the thing, normally when a team's only played a few months, I'm like, give them some time, you know, as a figure. I don't know how this turns around. Like, especially when this is the other thing that kills me about that team. I get the vibe, pure speculation. I'm the Redditor in this instance. I get the vibe they're not having any fun in that team and no one's fucking liking this project, mate. No. I think they're so soured on it. It's like, I bet them so much buyer's remorse for Stewie on this project, mate, because he definitely could have finagled his way to a better team on his own, I'm sure.
Listen, I've said it multiple times. Stewie is one of the greatest NA players of all time. He's done incredible things. But where you will rapidly make a rod for your back is this IGL vanity project. Here's the problem with it. It's never worked. So I don't care. I don't care if you can say, but look, like it's a fucking job interview. Look at this testimony from Elige. It's all meaningless. Show me the results. Show me the trophies. Show me appreciable improvement. Otherwise, it's just a theory. I've said this to like Nathan, to NBK, you know, known him since he was a fucking boy. And I've just said, like, it's just never, for whatever reason, it will not work for you as an IGL. Yes. It's not that you don't have the understanding of the game conceptually. You couldn't be the type of player you are if you didn't. But there are just so many parts to it. And so Stewie he's going to lead this team off a cliff if it keeps going this way. It's got to the point now where the fans, by the way, I just want to say what a nauseatingly sickening rewriting of history I saw on Reddit, because Stewie put up a tweet saying, I'm not quitting, I'm not leaving. Yes. Did that Wolf of Wall Street, and loads of people were going, yeah, it's been tough on Stewie. He's only ever had to be IGL when no one else wants to do it. Like, guys, I don't know how to fucking break this to you. Stewie wants to do it. Stewie took it off Fallen. This is nonsense. This is a lie. Stop rewriting history. Like when you were fucking telling me, Chiquinho has always been an up. And no. Nobody agrees with you. These are just Reddit narratives. You see a comment, you think a thought in your brain, it gives you confirmation bias. You assume you must be right, and then you regurgitate that shit from now until the end of time. Stewie has fancied himself as an IGL. Stewie has chosen to put himself in this position. He chose to rebuild this team. He chose to leave Liquid and go to EG. Why? Because he wasn't satisfied with how things were going over there when he was an IGL. He didn't think people were following his instructions or were ever going to get his system. Peach even had so much input with EG. This is his team, bar Naff, who he thought was going to come along for the ride with him. These are the players that he wanted. So how else can an IGL fail? Tactically, they are garbage. Form-wise, they are garbage. His individual form is garbage. And on top of that, they've shown no improvement. They have a terrible win record. And spoiler, you picked all the players on the roster. So this is your idea of what success looks like. Guys, you have to say he's fucked it. You have to, by any metric. So the way you fix EG now, the first thing, assuming they do, I don't know why they would at this point, but that's a separate issue. The only way to fix EG as a team now and maybe salvage something for the year, it has to be replacing a player, right? Which, by the way, statistically, Stewie would be on the chopping block. But let's assume if he's not an IGL...
You imagine he'd play better if he's did it for all costs.
It'd be hard to fucking play worse, mate. So that's what they need to do, unfortunately. They are going to have to cut somebody Stewie himself brought in for the ride, right? And chances, right? And then you're going to have to bring in an IGL. Also, maybe, by the way, maybe there's an AWPer out there you could have got. Shame you missed out on OC, right? Because that he would have been perfect in place of Cirque, and then maybe we're cooking on gas if we get a real IGL in. But chances are, unfortunately, just the nature of the beast, it's probably going to be Rush who gets cut, and I don't think he's done a lot wrong. So, I mean, certainly, I don't think of him as being the guy that's got to frag out in the game. It's got to be Breezy, right? Like this motherfucker, like I say, he should be on the side of a fucking carton of milk. This cunt, where's he?
No, I agree.
So yeah, mate, honestly, this team's a fucking disaster. And like I said, the year is almost over for them. They're clinging for like life to get through to the later stages of Blast in a very tough showdown. That spoiler, I don't think they can go deep in anyway. Because here's the thing. Even if they come back and beat Godsent, they're playing Furia next round. So you're going to get fucking banged out. Might be better to lose close to Godsent rather than fucking let Furia do to you what they're going to do to you, because it won't be pretty. So I don't know, mate. They've got to make changes, or they are just throwing good, but also there is an argument you're throwing good money after bad if you do that. Maybe EG. Keep in mind, the criticism of the EG CSGO team is especially pointed because what's their LCS team just done?
Yeah, true. Their LCS team as an underdog team won the LCS. So, by the way, ahead of teams that were like probably 10 times the fucking like salaries.
Ahead of 100 teams, ahead of Team Liquid.
People who spent millions and millions and millions for
hilariously very ahead of TSM.
Indeed. I'd even say as well, by the way, I agree with you. Like I've said before, when I've done consulting with people, one of the first things I always tell them is one option has to be leave the game right now if it doesn't make financial sense. Yes. I said, you have to consider that. Well, this is an example of a team, Richard, where I'm actually with you. If I was EG, this is what I would do. I would say, right, I'm going to take it on the chin. This whole project has failed. So now my question is, do I make a new team and take some players? By the way, when I say some, we're probably talking two. Take two players that are redeemable, build a new squad, and think of it as a new squad with no connection to this one? Or do I buy a totally new team, there isn't necessarily one that's obvious right now, unless you want to get in your own Cloud9 scenario by Virtus Pro or something. So assuming you don't, I think the third option is leave CS for now and wait until you think it's a better moment and you can come back in and be respectable. Because I agree with you. If you add one player change to this team, you are just wasting the money you paid for that buyout or the salary.
Yeah,
it's not going to turn the results around.
Look, it's just like this. At the end of the day, you know, if you look at how Cloud9 have played it, by the way, it is weird that the community aren't as vitriolically calling for this team to be broken apart or making.
Oh, this team's worse than Cloud9 in every regard. The old Henry G one, sure it is.
And I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility that they're spending similar amounts on salary.
I think it's plausible when you look at these names, look at people coming back from Valorant, etc.
You know, the ESSA tag one's always going to be a bit of a meme. But, you know, but here's the thing. Where are the threads? Let's all laugh at EG, like they were for Cloud9. Where are the threads, like, calling for, you know, the GM's head or whatever, like you did with Henry? They're not doing it. It's like, that was an especially weird reaction to what was happening in the team, which was build a team from scratch, and everyone expected them to be beating the likes of Na'Vi and winning tournaments inside of 3 months, which, by the way, spoiler, they nearly did beat Na'Vi to go, when Na'Vi were the number one team in the world, to go through in the group stage. And had that happened, they might even still exist to this day in some form. So anyway, for me, I think if you're EG, you've got to look at Cloud9 and you have to play it like Cloud9. And when you don't get to Blast and you don't get invited to Cologne, I think you just have to say, guys, listen, we gave you the opportunity. You can't say we didn't. But enough's enough. And you need to just close the book and just wait, because eventually there'll be another Gambit available for sale. I also agree with you. If Virtus Pro have to sell up and the team in some capacity wants to still play together, it might be difficult with like Jim and Flit, obviously. But if you say to me, I can get your Kindar, you know, Buster and Quicket and add two players to it at my leisure, you know, from the free agency pool, or maybe even try and do some weird NA, you know, Kazakhstani, Latvian hybrid team, I might be inclined to do that.
The crack.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, your Kinder, he's mega. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's got to be.
And the joke would be this, even though they never actually have successfully figured out how to use this market. And if people don't know, their whole thing in League of Legends is they use the hashtag live evil. Because obviously like evil backwards is live, right? So the joke is you could even lean into that, couldn't you? And just be like, we don't care if you don't like us, we're just winners, you know?
Exactly. So listen, I think when your flagship team is now suddenly overshadowed, like this is the problem we're playing in MGOs. You know, if your flagship team is overshadowed suddenly by a team that you never really had any particular.
No, the budget team in theory,
yeah, exactly. But like now, when you go look at EG, they're a bit of a mixed bag overall in terms of like.
I know, for example, there's someone who I think has like a shitty Valorant team that's never.
It's
like they've got a very mixed sort of roster of teams, and the problem is, I mean, I'm sure this is where you were going. Like CSGO was supposed to be one of the flagships, obviously. Like, in fact, I personally believe the reason they let this team be built, by the way, funnily enough, I'll tie it into what's just happening in League of Legends. So in League of Legends, Team Liquid sort of semi-fucked their team because they signed Bjergsen, because Bjergsen used to be the greatest, right? And Steve will even admit to you, he obviously used to be jealous of Reggie and go like, I don't have a Bjergsen. But the joke is, neither does anyone anymore. Like Bjergsen's fucking old, mate. Like that was 5 years ago, he was a god. So the problem is, right, in that scenario, I feel like even the reason they signed this team is because they thought, well, Stewie was the one who's won the major and the Grand Slam. He was to be the talismanic player. Great, let's get some NA players in. In fact, I could even say there's a cynical angle. With no Cloud9 in, bear in mind, TL's just never been that loved because they always bloody come second. If you ever actually nail having the most popular NA players, you will have a lot of fucking like marketing potential in NA, of course. Like they're begging for a team like that. So I even feel like this was supposed to, if things went right, this was supposed to be the team that repped EG. Whereas the joke is now it's the laughing stock.
Yeah. I mean, you know, and it gets even more complicated when you start like looking at their daughter squad and stuff like this. Like, you know,
forgot about that. Yeah, of course. Colbys have a great daughter squad. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but I mean, well, it's sort of it perennially underwhelming.
They never do anything. Yeah, sure.
I'm in on the Jerax project, even results notwithstanding. But whatever. Point being that at the end of the day, there's massive names on this Evil Geniuses roster, but CSGO is meant to be the flagship team. Clearly, Valorant's been a bit of a bust. It's never been amazing in Rocket League. League of Legends is the surprise one of the package. Dota 2, obviously, they've got some just huge names that it's just worth having on the brand. They got Sonic Fox over there now in the fighting game scene. Legendary Ricky Ortiz as well. So it's to me it's easier to just push CS:GO to one side when your other esports teams are doing good and have legendary names and are always going to be talked about at tournaments. See, this CS:GO team is not. I don't even know what they're officially ranked at right now on HLTV. It says 38. It doesn't even feel that high for me.
Oh, and remember this as well. Obviously, they won't even be at the major, but based on the original Jackson report, like a month ago or whatever, it's implied Malik's getting the fucking Jackson's coming down in his head too, isn't it? So at that point, the whole team's just fucked it.
Yeah. So I mean, guys, like, I don't know. I like Nicole. She seems to be switched on. Like, if ever there was a time to really weigh up pulling the plug on this, because it just feels like you're in that complexity death spiral, where it's like, we'll change a player and we'll change the team, and that player fails, and then we'll add these guys and we'll do this, and whatever happened to Obo, and then no. And enough's enough. If you don't have tournaments to play across the summer, just fuck it. What you paying these players for?
And by the way, if we're talking about specifically the players Breezy and Cirque, they're out the door tomorrow for me. This is like a year and a half now, guys. This is pathetic. It's pathetic. How many checks do I have to pay you?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's fair. It's fair, mate. You can't say they haven't. That's what I mean. EG, I'll give them mad respect. What patience they have shown, in particular for those two players.
For sure. The opposite to C9 in that regard.
Yeah, totally. So. Right then, I've got a few viewer questions to do, and then we can wrap up the show. I don't think I've missed out any of the big news. If so, we'll
got it all.
Pick it up. We'll pick it up in another episode, but we won't pick it up in another episode because remember, as I said at the start of the show, this is it. No more returning, only revenging. So make sure you sign up to the Insight on Esports CSGO channel for that. But let's go down and read some of these viewer questions. Remember, if you contribute to the Patreon, you get to ask us a question. It can be about anything. We'll do our best to answer it. So we have one from Watch Doge. Says, could we arrange a show match called Battle of the Necks?
I can already see where this is going because it's just a neck fight in it. Come on.
Where Cadian and Glaive duke it out as if they were giraffes on the savannah fighting for female.
Their necks, he means, like whacking with their necks.
That's how giraffes fight. Have you never seen it?
No, I've never seen it.
Yeah, giraffes literally smash each other's necks.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just Google it now, Duncan. You'll be buckled. Just say giraffe neck fighting. The winner gets to bring their girlfriend up on the podium to celebrate.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good angle.
Reference. Oh, he's even included a video actually of them fighting. So here you go. I'll send it to you. Don't have a look now. But it's mad. You will not be prepared if you've never seen.
Oh, this is mental. Yeah, it's like they're swinging their neck like a rope.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Whipping each other, sort of.
Yeah. Well, apparently they do it because it's like, obviously, if you think about how they're constructed limb-wise, it's the limb in it. It's because it's so long. It's essentially a fifth limb. That it's the one that can get the most purchase on. It's the one you can do the most damage with. They've got really hard skulls as well. And
the thing I love is the way they sort of like between fighting, they just stood there like chilling, like, well,
because they're giraffes. So, you know, what they're going to do. Oh. Yeah, but this is literally how they establish dominance, neck fighting. So listen, I, for one, would...
That would be a hell of a way to resolve the Glaive Cadian battle.
Once and for all.
Exactly.
Once and for all. In fact, listen...
Oh, what? He got, like, knocked out this one on this video.
Yeah.
That's fucking brutal.
Yes.
Holy shit.
That's how it ends, bro.
It's the way this is my life. So through by the numbers, I've now seen giraffes get KO'd by the giraffe sound. Well, why am I experiencing that for the first time? I've lived my whole life, 38 years old. Am I even 38? I think I'm 39 now. I can't remember.
38-year-old man.
I think I'm 39 now. Yeah, I think I'm 39. Fuck it.
Whatever, Duncan. It's fine. Just do what I and Taylor Lorenz do and just lie about your age from now until the end of time. But yeah, I fully support it. I mean, listen, the one thing I'll just add before anyone does ask about this, I fucking hate celebrity boxing. I think
it's garbage.
I think it's garbage. And I think this idea of like, I hate the way we went from fucking debate me, bro, to fucking fight me, bro. Like, just no, bro. No, none of that. So listen, I'm sure, by the way, Cadian and Glaive, I'm sure that thing was just like, tempers running high, whatever it was I heard about. You'll notice.
Dude, the thing I find weird about that, though, is like that is a pretty spicy story. Like the idea that, because here's the thing I don't get about it, right? Is I can see why Cadian might get involved in that. Like for him, that's the fucking person who's got the target on. That's who he's going over. I'm amazed Glaive, 4-time major winners, getting fucking into that, mate. Like if I'm him, I'd try and act aloof, mate.
So
like,
again, without going too much into it, like. The Astralis guys like are still really pissed off about that cheating.
That's still bothered. Fucking hell, okay. Yeah. That feels like ancient history, but I guess
yeah. They feel that like the players got away with one there, and they.
Oh, I see, right.
So they're like, listen, and I can sort of understand it to some degree. If the mindset was you cheated us against us, and it wasn't just the coach, he essentially carried the can. And you guys have got away with one, and now you're shit talking me, a player that never cheated or whatever. I can sort of understand it. The problem does become Hundham was going to be your coach, Glaive. So before,
and they got Ave afterwards.
So. Yeah. So you sort of lose that moral high ground.
I agree,
but it's one of those just silly things. But I'll always add, by the way, one of the reasons I've always liked Lucas is he don't fuck about. If he's got a problem, he fucking tell you. He's deceptively tasty cunt is Lucas for real. So anyway, another one here. This is from Orky. If you were to replace one player from Peak Astralis with Rich and then another player in Peak Astralis with Duncan, and then you had to play that Peak Astralis with Rich against the Peak Astralis with Duncan.
So these are two separate teams.
All Peak Astralis, but we replace one player.
And then we play each other's teams.
Yes. He says, okay. What player would you strategically choose for you to replace and why? And which team, Rich Stralis versus Ast Duncan, would win? This is mental.
Feels like you just wanted to say Ast Duncan on that one, didn't it? But whatever.
Ast to Duncan.
The problem is, first of all, what play? Because here's the problem, right? I don't give a fuck, and it's comedy, so I'll say it anyway. Obviously, I'm replacing Device because I'm an AWPer, so I'd be straight in there. And much like Device, I'd be like, listen, Glaive, you fucking nerd. You stay in the books, mate. I'll handle the AWPer. You just fuck off over there. I'm a loner. I'm sort of like a fucking alpha male. I operate on my own, mate. I'd be off. Yeah, exactly. I'd put him in his place, mortgage him completely. Then I'd just be off. Fucking living the dream. I'll probably win MVP.
I'm an alpha male. You are starting to sound like a certain person. I'm a human, and I'm coming. For me, I'm trying to think about my style. The problem is, like, for real, I'd probably have to replace Glaive.
Bold.
I know, right? But I'm like, right. Put it this way. If we assume it's Peak Zipnix, I can't replace him. If we assume it's like Peak Device, I definitely can't. With my reaction time. So if it's all the Peak, if it's, Magisk Dupree, I can't replace them. So I've got to just be the IGL and get carried. I basically have to become MSL in this equation. I just have to be just a mega mind, and just hope for the best.
Here's the problem that I have just realized, though. I've now created the scenario of you're picking Glaive, where actually I think your team probably would beat mine, though, because I'm instead of Device member. He is sort of the best player. So I've fucked that one, haven't I? Because you could actually get carried. I can't. I have to carry them.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
you're right. You've done me on that one. Yeah.
My 4 players can carry, but you just took out your carry because you're so fucking egotistical.
The joke is, though, in this show match, I would turn around when we're getting banged and go, "Will you fucking do something to play Vegas? Am I supposed to do it all my own?" As I'm like 0-12.
Yeah, 0-12. Step it up, lads.
By the way, as well, you have to understand, if I play, I'm going to play. I'm not fucking around. So I would absolutely be like, tell them to save me the AWP, like drop me the AWP. Like, I don't give a fuck, mate. I'd love it. That's why, by the way, that's another thing that is a downside of this major. Mate, the worst thing, the only one thing that does bother me about not working any majors anymore is this. in the early majors, a lot of people don't know this. They just never asked me to ever do those show matches. The perception from TOs, I mean, you know this, was either they were scared to talk to me. They thought I'm only going to do what I'm sort of paid to, or their sense was they thought I'd be like afraid I was going to get showed up or something. So people don't know this. I always would have played in a show match. I was never asked. So I thought, fuck it, it's not my shit. It's Henry and fucking fucking Sponge. Their sort of world's what they're into in it. So the fact that I had 2 majors in a row where I got cock teased, I was doing the fucking show match. It never happened. And now obviously never be at a major, so it's over in it. You'll never see me in that show match. You'll never see it twice.
You never know. You might get asked back. I mean, obviously you can't go to the ESL one in Brazil.
That's true.
Yeah, but
I can't lie though. Saying that though, I have also now created a scenario where if anyone ever gets half a clue, Richard, and they want the greatest show match of all time, I'll tell you what, if you do your show match and you don't announce the players and you go, whose music is that? And I fucking come out on stage, tell you what, that'll be a fucking pop. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, literally, literally the pop of a sniper rifle, probably. So, but yeah, no, I agree. And look, it was like that when we casted that one with Red Eye. People don't realize that was really kind of cobbled together like a little bit last minute. I was just talking about it with Red Eye the other day, funnily enough. It's like I was always willing to go the extra mile and do like extra content and do extra stuff. But I agree. I think it was just this perception that we were just grumpy arseholes that would have always said no. And it's like, actually, I would have liked to have contributed more. As I said, my career highlight is doing the show match with Henry at Boston, like doing the casting there. That's like literally up there. That and I-36. You know what I mean?
And by the way, even if I actually would obviously revel and enjoy it and have fun and banter and do all funny stuff for people. But even if I didn't, by the way, here's a reason why genuinely, Richard, I would actually also agree to play in a show match, even if I wasn't that sort of person. Because if I'm going to rib all these guys and talk shit on them, I think it's fine that I get put in a scenario where for comedy purposes, they get to beat me in the game. I even think there's almost like a sort of fair on that one in there. Like, it's like they get obviously just wreck me. That's why I even said that idea at the PGL was a great one. Get all the players who supposedly don't like me, put them on the other team and have them all wrecking me. That'd be hilarious. It would be. And by the way, I'm sure it'd be so satisfactory for fans. Of course, if you hate me, you'd be the shit.
Yeah, exactly. and it's like people don't realize, like, at the end of the day, like, one of the most important rules and the first rule of being a critic, if you don't want to go insane, is obviously you have to. People always say that we can't deal with criticism. The problem is, I get criticized for things that objectively never happened.
Yes.
I get criticized for opinions I've never expressed. I get criticized for political views I don't hold. And so that is unbelievably frustrating. And that is, and that would drive anyone crazy if you had tens of thousands of people doing that to you every year. It would drive you up the wall. It still drives me up the wall that, like, because I said this Brazilian guy said something I don't like, all Brazilian fans are like, he's xenophobic. I'm like, fucking not. It's the opposite of xenophobia. I'm specifically criticizing one person. There's no nationality getting brought to the table. I've said it before. It makes me sad I can never go to Brazil.
Yeah, it sucks.
But that's just how it is, I guess. That's the bed I am in. So, yeah, I've always lent into it.
As well, by the way, people might just think this is funny. Genuinely, right? Here's the difference, Richard. Obviously, loads of Polish people have told me over the years, look, I don't really care about that stuff from years ago now, it's ancient history, blah, blah, blah. I'd like to see you at kind of 8, I'd get a signature. So there's loads of people who have said that, right? And the difference is, right, I at least believe the Poles, because to be fair, that was my second ever event as an analyst. Like, I wasn't as well known. I was, especially not in the Polish community. They have pretty Polish websites for esports. So I can understand why they would be maximum outraged at the beginning point, but once they know me now, it's not as big a deal, right? Here's the difference. All the Brazilian CSGO players, mate, if I'm ever at after parties or in the bar, are always telling me, just forget about it, man. There wouldn't really be a problem. You should just come. It'd be brilliant. The fans would love you. And I always just tell them, like, mate, even if I believe that was true, it only has to go slightly wrong, doesn't it, to make me very much regret attending a Brazilian event. I told him, you are aware every few months I have thousands of your people like, I'll kill you if I see you. Like, it's the Brazilian, at least the Polish one is in history. Now it's a meme. The Brazilian one just comes back every year. I'm never going there my entire life. I'm going to be like an 8-year-old man if I go there.
Here's the thing. If there was another major in Poland, like right now, or a big event in Poland, like I can imagine a world where, you just go and
it's not impossible. I would consider it if it was the right circumstance.
And it's like, because it's like it's old news. I also feel as well, there was a little bit of significance to the whole thing. As you said, you were new to the Polish community in that sense. but obviously as well, it was sort of a massively important event for Polish esports, if you remember. It was the first Katowice, wasn't it?
They'd had one the year before, but it was only League of Legends that one. This was like the first
exactly.
CSGO event.
So, it's just one of those things. At the end of the day, by the way, as well, like something I've always felt bad about. When you write down what someone says and you remove it from the original context within which it was said, with the advantages of body language and everything else, it always looks worse on paper.
Oh, always will, yeah, of course.
I mean, that was like my big takeaway from that. Like when you are quoting people, you have to sort of also, as much as you can, accurately include like the tone within which the words were said. You have to add like other expression language around the quote itself, because I've noticed as well from how people it's another trick people use, isn't it?
Yes.
Where they take your quote and lay it out stark black and white, even sometimes without accurate punctuation or pauses, which we all know from talking can make difference.
And the best example ever is that famous joke by Bill Burr, isn't it, where he says about how like if you ever get involved in like a domestic dispute or whatever, the problem is he's like, it depends how they say it, didn't he? So he has that whole joke where it's like, no, stop it. Like, what are you doing? But then it's like in court, it's like, it didn't sound like that. She wasn't saying like that. Because in court, it's like, did you say this? No, stop, please. I don't want. It's a fucking banger. It's a perfect example of this.
No, it is like the linguistic trickery,
Exactly.
So anyway, next question. Let's get on to it. I won't do that one from Reykjavik on Steam in case it ages like milk. We got one from Chingu here. With the news that Mad Lions are releasing their roster, what are some of them, which we didn't talk about on the show, I'll pick that up next time. What are some of the most mismanaged orgs that fucked up their rosters due to pure incompetence?
I mean, by the way, that is a great example of one, because I tell you what, you go back and look at the roster
where they were,
Flashpoint 1, and you're like, how did you end up with nothing? And you appear to have given everyone away for almost free. You know what I mean? Like, that is unbelievable how bad that one is. Like, that's like being a farm team that didn't even work as a farm team. I don't really get that one. I'm trying to think what another good one would be. I mean, EG1 currently stands in that sort of fucking category, surely. There's one.
Yeah, we are there at this point.
I mean, I think Astralis. Mate, this is what I don't get.
That's interesting.
It's the exact opposite of what people think. So people's perception of Astralis is it's a brilliant org that provided everything and built up their squad. It's the opposite. You had, by the way, the easiest parlay of all time, which is I have the greatest team ever. By the way, remember at the end of 2020, they were still really good and were like in semis and finals and winning tournaments. I have the greatest team ever. And all I have to do, by the way, look, I might not be the greatest anymore, but I just change one or two pieces out, making good pickups. And you can milk that for a few more years, mate. You could still be like top 10, top 5 for 3-4 more years. You're working in, you maybe even bring in new talent. Instead, what they've ended up with is like not even the top prospects in Denmark. They've lost all the good players they had. They've kept all the washed players, and they don't even have the young up-and-coming talent. And all those players in Heroic are way better. Like I'd struggle to find a team with this, like essentially considering they had like a fucking Lambo and they've mismanaged it in like a Ford Fiesta. Like I think that's fucking terrible. Actually, if you look at it,
MIB are up there for me.
Oh, they're up there for sure.
And look, there was a lot going on, and it wasn't entirely the fault of the org. But if you think about where they were when they entered into the space, and they recently sold their Blast slot to,
they had essentially the number 1 team when they got bought by them all.
Yeah.
Or maybe like phase number 1, they were number 2, but they were absolutely a top team. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And if you look realistically, during the time they were MIBR, they realistically didn't do like the joke it now, by the way. I tell you who deserves the biggest apology of all time. Fucking Yanko. Go look at the period when he coached MIBR. Yeah. Man alive. He was the one bright spot they bloody had. That was the one time they had their head above water for a moment.
And it's crazy as well, because if you look at it through the years, the roster just sort of got progressively worse.
Yeah, but the other thing is, it never goes like drastically. It goes step by step.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the Yanko era is essentially the goal.
Yeah.
It's the high watermark. By the time you start getting to, but I'll into this. I don't even. I think in terms of where they ended up, the KNG Mayon lineups should have still done better than what it did.
Oh, it should.
And then on and on it goes to where they are now. I'm going to look now. I don't know where they are ranked in the world right now.
I'm going to guess like 35th or something. What?
24th. I mean, it's a lot higher than I thought.
I mean, I guess they did qualify for this major, though, right?
Yeah, which obviously gives them a bump that they played in the RMR and stuff. But I mean, like, it's like they look to be on an exit strategy for after the major if you're selling your slots and stuff. So
yeah, exactly.
Be interested to see where that's all going. So there's a good shout for you. I think MIBR, they had everything. They had all the pieces.
Oh, there's one other one we have to throw in that's another obvious one.
What?
Original NIP.
Oh, right.
We're talking about mismanagement,
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Because the worst thing about they did
mismanagement.
Dude, the worst thing they did, as far as I can tell, is they did the worst of both worlds. They sort of gave the players a bit of choice, but not the full choice. And so in that scenario, you ended up with moves where, as you've heard over the years, like the players themselves would be like, I didn't really want that guy, are they? And you're like, what's going on here? Like, are you either just an org and you're a top sports org? In which case, by the way, if you have control over the org, you don't have to be beholden to the players to keep the whole core. So in that case, update or do it where you change it one at a time, but then ask the players who they want. Like, for me, they did the middle ground, which sort of fucked them completely on that one. Because the way that ended was so bad. It just faded out, didn't it?
Yeah, and look, there was definitely, they got themselves into a problem a lot of teams do. I mean, including in a way that there are some parallels in this modern Astralis. You leave it too late to replace, GOAT level players in positions. So the youth that you do bring in when eventually it becomes a necessity rather than a luxury aren't good enough, don't get experience, can't bet into the team. They get found out at that level. And then you end up in this weird, well, now I've got to replace them, but I also need to replace this other dude. And so there are some parallels there for sure. So I think that's a good answer. There's three more. Jerky's Minion, and this is very much aimed at you, I would say. So now that Vulcan has won another split, will Reginald sell his house, car, his everything, and turn into a burger flipper at McDonald's, and to become a star once more like Vulcan is now? Now, for those who don't know what that's referencing, obviously there's that outrage. Well, you want to talk about tweets that have aged?
Oh, it's hilarious. It's fucking amazing, mate.
Yeah, because obviously TSM have finished
last place.
Or was it last place?
They were. I think they were technically ninth by maybe head to head over Immortals or something. But they were like by numbers of games won, they won the least games along with Immortals. It's just I think head to head maybe made Immortals 10th instead of them. But there's only 10 teams in the league. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, which by the way, I mean
this was the weakest split ever in my opinion. So it's actually mental how bad they
are. And also as well, I mean, with all the drama and stuff that's overshadowed it. I mean, it's this team is still meant to do better than this, with the names on the roster and everything else.
No, the reason this is hilarious basically is because Reginald managed two things that have both insanely backfired in a way you wouldn't imagine. So one was back when actually this was in the beginning of 2021 when he made this tweet. What happened was Vulcan made a tweet where, because at the time they were all talking in NA about should we just get rid of the import rule and just have all imports? Because that's how fucked in the head Americans are. They're like, how do we develop NA talent? It's impossible, right? Get rid of NA talent. And they're like, what the fuck? You're the same guy, what? So anyway, that is Americans for you. So obviously Vulcan, because he's a native player, made some sort of comment is everyone getting imports? It's something weird what would happen if you got rid of imports or whatever? And so Reggie, who actually himself, it's not even like he's the most famous one for importing, but he just decided to come at him and was sort of if imports didn't exist, you'd have no job and you'd be working minimum wage in a McDonald's. By the way, one of the most egregious comments ever as well, especially because he wouldn't, would he? He's still a good player. In fact, if people don't know, he's one of the best domestic players. He'd be really good still. He just won the worst team, maybe.
I'll also just add, by the way, the irony of Reginald couldn't hold down a job at McDonald's.
Reggie, I might be wrong on this, but isn't Reggie I don't know if he literally is, but if he isn't, in spirit, he is a high school dropout. This is a guy who, there was even a feature in early League of Legends where this is hilarious if you hate Reginald because it's just unintentional gold. I remember they did an interview about Reginald, right? And then they had Dan Din and maybe even another one of his brothers. And their brothers are just going we all had 4.0 GPAs, but then our mum would be like, look after Reginald with you. He's only got 2.0 or something. And you're just thinking holy shit, that's your own fact. They're saying it as though it's a lighthearted joke, but it's mate, if you know Reginald, that's dark. He actually seems like he's a fucking halfwit. So the reason this is all hilarious is, one, in the meantime, by the way, guys, Vulcan's won the LCS twice with two different teams. Reggie hasn't won any. Secondly, there was another similar thing where he went on to the same year. He went on to Reddit when people were worried that TSM was falling off. And he made a comment where, because CLG was the old great team that was now shit, he made a comment where he was like, I would never let TSM get worse than CLG. I would sell everything, my house, my car, my shoes. And the joke is they just finished below CLG in this split. So it's like you could like this should be like the fucking test case of aged like milk. It's so bad. You couldn't, and also because it's Reginald, here's where Carlos will always be the king in esports, mate. Reggie isn't even dumb enough, isn't smart enough rather, to take it on the chin and sort of get the win from losing, if you know what I mean. Like if he roasted himself like Carlos would, you get at least some engagement off that. You sort of seem like you're not a total dickhead, like you seem like you get the joke. Well, Reginald does just like ignore the fact, like, oh, I'm just going to go radio silence on this one. It's like maybe you should have done that in the first place.
Yeah. So it's like, listen, when you
Schadenfreude for sure.
When he sets himself up to fail, he fucking, he does it absolute bangingly, doesn't he? All right, 2 more. Echo says, when was the last time you touched grass? I can answer this because, I'm like an old man now and I have to mow my lawn. I have to mow my lawn to fit in with my neighborhood. It's such a weird thing, like culturally, the expectation, like your lawn reflects on the whole area.
Oh, right.
So culturally, everyone's like mega interested in your lawn, like, and whether or not you'll mow it. I've even had a neighbor say to me, like, you should mow your lawn, and it's like, it is my lawn.
I know, exactly.
But it's one of those things. It's like, because it looks really bad if you've got some like outrageously unkempt.
Yeah, that's true. It can get mad. If it gets like Jurassic Park style, it does look ridiculous.
I did it just before I got COVID. So like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago, and just me, I thought, this is one thing, these fucking lawnmowers, mate. I don't know. I'm just not cut out for the outdoors life, am I? I put the thing on to catch the grass, but it wasn't quite all the way on.
Oh, was it just spraying all up on you?
Yeah, all the fucking grass. So I literally had to touch grass. I had to get down on my hands and knees.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, sure.
Fistfuls of fucking grass to pick it up. Because otherwise it'd blow into my neighbour's yard and then, I see you mowed your lawn. Shame half of it's now on my lawn, you cunt. So I don't want to get into that conversation. So yeah. Mine
will just be somewhat random, like it'll just be on a road. Because you have to remember the downside is I live in Amsterdam, which is an artificial city based on sticks into the mud. Like, so unsurprisingly, they have to put in an artificial piece of grass for you to find some grass. So
how do you know it even was grass? And also, by the way, I know for a fact that you definitely touch grass all the time.
There you go. If I'm using the sort of Scoots 1970s vernacular, yeah, I agree. Listen, man, of course.
So just putting that out there.
Exactly.
The Zoomers won't know what we're talking about. Puff, puff, pass, indeed. So there you go. And the last question, First Sock asks, how fucked are the Antwerp talent if the broadcast issues you guys had to style through Stockholm Major persist?
That was one of my first thoughts. I know everyone thinks here's the problem, Richard, because no one's been in that situation from fans. They think we're just exaggerating, or we're trying to, make a case for ourselves that we have to stay around. I genuinely just hope they never have to experience it, because unfortunately, if I look at how experienced some of the names are, like, look, I would trust some of them to still make their way through and survive and all this. They're not going to completely collapse, but it'll be hard. It'll be a strain mentally.
I mean, look, I think everyone on the list, like having an experienced host there is obviously the bedrock. That's kind of where it starts. I'm sure Shocks has done enough productions now, although she might have been blessed in the fact that she has worked for Riot and Blast.
Oh, by the way, being as we can actually talk about what Pgl was like, unlike the others. I'll tell. There's another reason, by the way. I'm glad that Freya didn't get the main hosting job initially, because there's another thing, mate. If she had to go through what you did, I've seen her work. She's someone who loves to know exactly what's coming up, exactly the rundown. Please do it this way. So that would be really unsettling to her, I think. Look, obviously she has to work through it, but I think it's better to gradually experience that. You don't want to just get thrown in the deep end of that shit.
Yeah, the thing with, and I've said this before, because I did like live American TV and I did it with like no auto cue. I was all memorized or cue cards, and I would just memorize segments, but also understand contextually. It would have to be like jazz sometimes, and you would have to fucking improvise to fill time or to wrap things up quicker, because we've got commercials that we have to show. We can't get out of it. It's not like on Twitch where we run over for 2 minutes, my bad. If we run over for 2 minutes on this show, that bleeds into someone else's airtime and everything else. So, it's tough. But for me, I think having good, solid, experienced host is where it starts. The casters, look, I can't imagine PGL are gonna have the same tech issues. I just can't believe it. I can't believe one org would go from that, where we were in Stockholm after a long layoff, and then get another major and not be thinking like, we cannot have this happen again.
Put it this way, if I hear that there were similar tech problems, I will genuinely come out and say they shouldn't get majors anymore.
Yeah.
Because I'm with you. The one excuse on that one is it's right on the back of TI. You had the whole, it was even worse scenario in Romania with the COVID situation. So like, I could give you a slight pass. I agree.
There were a lot of mitigation. Well, remember, we weren't even meant to travel to Stockholm initially.
Yeah.
So listen, it was unacceptable, but there were reasons that you can apply. So, the reality is now there will be no excuse. It is, your choice of country without any last minute travel arrangements, your choice of talent. You've apparently recruited additional sound guys to have a smooth production. So at the end of the day, I don't think there'll be the problems. But I think by and large, enough of these guys have been in the trenches and aren't going to get fazed by, like, if there are any production difficulties. So I think the one area you won't have any problems is going to be with the talent. What I'm interested to see, honestly, is the crowd work. That's what I want to see. Because a couple of the duos, they haven't done big stadium crowds. No. And so, and Launders and Scrawny have just got a taste of doing that with Blast. They did a great job in Copenhagen. But, it's obviously Frankie's back as well, and she's had a period out. And, I thought the Dota community treated her like outrageously bad, when again, for that TI, everyone was working in like ridiculous circumstances. So listen, I think the talent will do a great job, and I'm confident they'll carry it, whether there's problems or not. But I'll also give PGL a benefit of the doubt. It was a massive black eye to them to have so much criticism, and I think specifically to have people like me and Duncan who've always had like good relation with PGL, worked with PGL down the years. The fact that we were among them, like the biggest critics. I think it was food for thought in the end. Sadly, not at the event.
I'll tell you something, though, I have to say now. I've only just thought of this now, though. Yeah, that does also sour me on them not hiring some of those guys from the last major, mate. Because here's the thing. There's people there who saved your fucking ass. People who did games and when they weren't asked to do them, who came in, who worked with the crowd, who overlooked the problems. And then what loyalty do you have? Now, by the way, it's not like they just paid us a bonus or something. No. That's it.
No, I mean, look, the way I think about it, this is, though, I also understand the sort of problem PGL have, that if they'd hired us all again, like let's say we'd all agreed to do it, right, and we all go there, then it's massively unfair on the guys that get left out for different reasons. And obviously, everyone said this is the old boys major, therefore by extension, this has to be the new boys major.
Oh, I'm with you on that. Yeah.
And so if PGL had hired us again, which, I mean, and also spoiler, they did try to.
Oh, no, they tried to hire me and you a couple of others. But here's my problem. I guess I'll phrase it this way. Imagine you're someone like Moses. Why are you helping this guy not look like a dickhead when he's fucking up his job? So he doesn't get punished for looking like a dickhead, and then he doesn't even pay you back later. Because in that scenario, spin it the other way around. Let's reverse the talent lineups, Richard. This talent lineups at PGL Stockholm. Do you think the event would be remembered the same way? Mate, the event would be torn to shreds. The one thing consistently people said right up until the last couple of days when they fixed the crowd sound and all that shit was, wow, the talent are carrying this event. I don't know that would be the case if you'd have put a lot of these like green fish on that event particularly. I mean, as we're saying, this is not an exaggeration, guys. I'm not doing like hyperbole when I say Richard had nothing in his ears. He literally had nothing in his ears as he was doing segments, graphics, sections, throwing to things, coming back from like, it was mental. Like, we're not talking about like too much noise or they're too loud. No, they're just not saying anything. You have to just know what to do from initiative or experience, or you have to have mapped out the show from the last day's segment or something. Like, it was ridiculous. Like it was genuinely some of the most amateur hour shit I've seen in esports.
So listen, like I say, this is going to be a better major than Stockholm, and
hopefully in every regard.
Yeah, and I'm super looking forward to seeing how the talent do. I think they'll be all right. So that's
also, by the way, spoiler. You all think, we got rid of him now and they didn't get hired. No, what's great now is this is also why it's the perfect time, Richard, for what we're doing with some of the stuff with Inside Esports. Guess what? we can do any events we want going forwards. They'll just be online in our format and we'll do it in a different context. So the cool thing is, if you're not a fan of us, hey, I get it. If you weren't a fan of mine and you keep tuning into the main broadcast, I have to be on it. You have to sort of watch me. This way, only the people who choose to watch us will watch us, and all the ones who hate us can go watch the main broadcast. And we'll still do some CS over the years. So don't worry, it's not the end of all the CS.
No, it's not. And like, obviously, just to wrap it all up, because that's the end of the show. It's been a whopper, this one. The No Majors Club round the corner. We're gonna have like a fucking hell of a lineup. So just to let people know, I'm gonna do a joke talent announcement, which is gonna have all insults in underneath the name of the talent instead of their role. So we'll work it all out later. But we're gonna, obviously, Moses is in. Anders is in. Sadakis said he's going to drop by for a few. Jackie and Davey, they're stalwarts of it. They're going to be there. You're going to be there. Monte Cristo said he'd like to drop in for a few. But I'm also reaching out to people that I've not kind of worked with before, and break up the sausage fest and get some new names in there. So Goose Breeder, if you know her, I've talked to her about coming in and casting some games because she's active in my community as well.
Okay.
So and I've already sent a DM across to Smix and see if she's going to come in and, we can catch up.
Just to tell old stories would be fun, right?
Yeah, because, at the end of the day, that's what it's going to be about. Yeah. And, I'm not looking...
tell her it doesn't matter if she follows current CSGO. We want her on the show anyway.
Yeah, no, because she'll get worried about that.
I don't want her to be thinking I have to prepare for the game. You don't at all. We might not even talk about the game.
Spoiler. Exactly. Spoiler. There will be as little talk about the game, especially at the early stages. So it's just about, doing what the No Majors Club's always been about. If you're new to the podcast, I don't know why you would be, and you don't know what the No Majors Club is, you've never seen a No Majors Club before. It's basically just a way for people who don't get to work the majors to kind of hang out, do a chill core stream where we watch the games together, talk about old times, have a few beers, occasionally cast the games. And it's not going to be massive, especially compared to some of the other core streamers out there, but it will be unique and it will be different. Yes. And it's going to have a banger lineup this time around, because there has been some kind of changing of the guard to a certain degree. Obviously, Yanko as well. I imagine he'll be in there too.
Yeah, true.
So we're gonna have, we're gonna have a good group of people this time around, and some new people who've not been in the community before. So make sure you support it. Make sure you tune in. And with that, all that remains to be said is thanks to our sponsors. Of course, for this episode, we were sponsored by Midnight.com. Go to midnight.com, sign up there. R. Lewis, if you deposit £20, they will match that deposit. And of course, be over 18, gamble responsibly, etc., etc. EliteJewels.gg, sign up there, create an account for there, and have some free to enter fantasy where you can pick teams and potentially win prizes. And it's expanded. It's not just CS. They've got multiple tournaments. They're still building the website to make it look nice and shiny. So go check them out. And of course, if you need a VPN, why not take advantage of a huge discount? Go to nordvpn.com/RLS, or you can even use the code .com/gospel, and you will get yourself 74% off the VPN of choice that I use. And now this is where Sam will insert the patron names. $100 patrons: Carv, Cathal, Cred, Jerky's Minion, Marcus Kumpar, Michael Hewitt, Tobias Bernasconi, Will the Weed Wrangler, and our $50 patrons: Adam Ox, Alex C, Rama, Benakagi, Bren, BP420, Canapacito, CMAC 1991, Echo, Fursock, Gern Kaya, Detlef Insomniac, Miss Alcoholic, Nolan, Rekovic on Steam, Sarzawa, Satan, Shine, SLNXC, the Bitcoin Cash Podcast, Tim Frost, Lonnie, TRL, Watchdog, Zumba, and Zarathenia. And that's all that remains to be said. That was By the Numbers. We'll be back on a different channel with a different name, having our revenge on all of the scene from now until the end of time. So thanks so much for supporting Return of By the Numbers. We'll see you for the revenge. Till then, look after yourselves. Bye.